Welcome along to the Racehour Cheltenham Preview Night in association with TonyBet and bookmakers.co.uk. I'm David Jennings and I'll be your host for hopefully the next couple of hours. Hopefully it won't run into the early hours of the night. And we've got a jam-packed panel full of, I would say, comedy first of all anyway. Some brains, some intelligence, some former riders, some retired riders that came back. We've got a tipster who's always been a tipster, but is also a presenter. And we've got two absolute incredible judges from the Racehour podcast as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel. And there's only one place to start. It's the man when I told people that this Cheltenham preview night was going ahead, they were absolutely delighted. And they weren't delighted because they wanted to find out what was going to win the races. They were delighted because they said he's the funniest man in racing. Would you believe that? The funniest man in racing. And he's here on our Cheltenham preview night. It's Mr. It's Mr. Mikey Fogarty. How are you, Mikey?
How are you, David? How's the farm?
David is my name, Mikey. Good start. Yeah. How are you?
I just a delayed reaction to these jokes, but they'll get good.
That's all right. So just so viewers know now, are you retired, but you've came back, but you're still riding at the moment?
I wrote a joke last week there. Maybe I should have retired maybe afterwards. So I don't know. No, I'm back. I've been back a while now, Dave. Yeah, I'm not as busy as I was. I'm probably a little bit stronger, and I'm not probably up and down the road as much, but I'm still busy away, which is great. And no, I can't complain. So we'll keep going for another little while.
Well, Mikey, you're top of the pops when it comes to preview night banter. So we're delighted to have you. So looking forward to all the crack for the remainder of the night. Now, our next panelist tonight is a former jockey who has retired recently and a top-class former jockey. And I think we were all bitterly disappointed when he decided to stop riding. But when we read the story, we think it was all the right call. A seriously talented horseman that I'm sure is going to be hugely successful in all his future endeavours. And the most important thing when it comes to this Cheltenham preview night tonight is that he still rides out in Cloysutton and Willie Mullins stable every morning. It is Mr. David Mullins. How are you?
Hi, David. Never knew you spoke that fondly of me or thought that much of me before.
Oh, I'm your biggest fan, Dave. I'm your biggest fan. How are you? How is retirement? Are you sipping cocoa and putting on your dressing gown all the time?
Yeah. The slippers now, they come on and off at about 6 and 8 o'clock, and after that I'm fine into bed then.
You're looking very polished there.
I wouldn't say that.
So anyway, we're going to get all the info from David throughout the preview. Without further ado, our next panelist is, well, he's just the voice of racing, really, the voice of reason, the voice of racing. And I would say I've been on many a Cheltenham preview night with this man, and he never fails to come up with plenty of winners. It is Racing TVs, the Irish Field, and many, many other things. It is Donn McClean. How are you, Don?
Good, thanks, Dave. Yeah, all good.
You look very relaxed.
Yeah, well, it's a relaxing time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, in fairness, I'd love something to happen in the news in the next couple of weeks, just because it's got very boring, to be honest with you.
It's not all Newsweek, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. You look like one of these guys now that prefers the Cheltenham preview nights at home when you can sit back in the chair and just relax.
I just finished my coffee. I'll have another one now coming hopefully soon. But it's a weird build up to Cheltenham, isn't it? Obviously, for like all the reasons.
Yeah. I'm sitting in my mother's sitting room doing a Cheltenham preview night. I think that sums it all up, really, doesn't it? Yeah. Now, the real judges, like, people might know the David Mullins is the Mikey Fogarty's, the Donn McCleans, but let's be honest about it. And I went through the notes at last year's preview night, and there's only two real judges in this panel, and it is our Racehour podcast panelists. It is Diarmuid Nolan and Dean Ryan. And lads, if last thing is anything to go by, you've got big boots to fill. How are you, Diarmuid?
All good, Dave, man. Same old, thank God. But look, we're all building up towards the Cheltenham Festival. A few winners will be nice too.
Now, hold on a second now, Diarmuid. Same old. I don't know what your same old was like, but my same old wasn't involved in talking about Gordon Elliott doing something he shouldn't be doing. So it's certainly not the same old.
No, well, certainly not. But I just mean normal, non-racing life is all the very same every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dean Ryan, how are you? I know you've been in five form on the podcast of late.
Yeah, we've been having a great time with that, actually. Racehour has been has been ticking along lovely, thanks to the likes of Paddy Aspel, Stephen Cass, Dave Weldon, all good men, all not here tonight. Unfortunately, don't get allowed on the big show, obviously. But myself and Dermo are here. We'll represent them, I think. And as you said last year, I think Dermo was the man with all the knowledge bombs. I just kind of ticked along the corner and read out the prices. But thanks for the nice intro, Dave.
That's all right. We all need a bit of confidence every now and again, Dean. So just to let you know, folks, last year's preview night, some of you were at it, some of you watched it, but there was €1,200 raised for the Injured Jockeys Fund. And I had the biggest price nap winning, would you believe? Aramax won the Boodles Juvenile Hurdle. Dean Ryan's nap Min also won the Ryanair Chase at 5-1. So a 7-1 and a 5-1 winner. And the lads, you were unlucky. Then my heart goes out. Mikey Fogarty, latest exhibition.
Yeah.
If anybody else, only Brian Cooper rode him. No, I'm only joking. Mikey lives with Brian Cooper. That's the only reason I'm saying that. You're unlucky there, Mikey. Just Monkfish just caught you on the line.
Yeah, good troop of horses. So it was a great race. It was. Look, it was close enough. So hopefully, get him. I think he's going to Fairy House with.
Mikey, have you just moved into George Best's house there?
The lad he's in the sitting room there, and I said I'd go to the kitchen because I don't know, maybe he's wanting to text a woman or something or watch a bit of race, or I don't know. He's probably watching Grey's Anatomy, knowing him.
Well, look, you've plenty of drink to keep you company there behind you, and just to let you know,
festival winners I rode. See, anytime you ride a winner at the festival, you get a bottle of champagne. So 1, 2, sure, look at.
Jesus. Also last year at the preview night, we had a little bit of a match bet, €100 between Diarmuid Nolan and Mikey Fogarty. They had a bit of banter and a bit of a quarrel over the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And of course, Mr. Mikey Fogarty came out on top because he said that Album Photo would finish ahead of Santini. Now, in fairness, that was fair going, boys. He's got the reverse forecast. But €100 was donated to charity as well. So fair play. Diarmuid paid the money. And for, I think it was a net defeat, Diarmuid, was it?
It was, yeah. It was painful. It was only about 2 weeks ago that I texted Mikey and said, I owe you €100, don't I? So it was. So thank God we agreed that we give it to charity. Sure, that's always the best way to settle these bets. And looking at Mikey's background there, DJ, I don't think he needs the money anyways.
No, certainly not. But listen, Diarmuid, fair play for owning up. You'll get good luck for that. You'll get good luck for owning up to it. So hopefully this year's festival, it will be good to you. So I think that's all the pleasantries and the introductions done and dusted. You don't have to be that nice to each other throughout the course of the show. So without further ado, we're going to kick off our Cheltenham preview. And of course, there's only one place to start, and that is on Tuesday with the Supreme Novices Hurdle. And the best prices around at the moment, 13-8, appreciate it. It is 6-1 Metier, 7-1 Ballyadam, 8-1 Soaring Glory, 16-1 Bob Ollinger. Looks like he's going to go, obviously, for the Ballymore, 16-1 Blue Lord, and 25-1 Bar. Right, David Mullins, I'm going to come to you first. Appreciated is a horse that assumed favouritism of the Supreme with a really good performance at Leopardstown over Christmas. We all know, I think, that he would appreciate a little bit further the 2 miles, but can he get the job done? Punter's off to a terrific start in the Supreme.
Yeah, just looking down to it, David, I really did fancy Ballyadam, especially his improvement from his 2 runs at Christmas and then onto the Dublin Racing Festival. I thought he was a great each way price. I thought it was buying money until things came out and he moved stable, and I'm not a fan of that. So
really,
I see it as a 1-horse race from here on in for appreciate. If he shows up in the same form as he has the last twice, I don't think there's anything in that race that can beat him.
So just explain to me your concerns. Obviously, we know they're both top trainers, and I'd imagine it's not the actual training techniques. Is it just the late movement from one stable to another and habits and so forth?
Yeah, it's not a positive. It can't be a positive. Maybe with an older horse, it might do something, but for young horses, grade 1 level, they're novices. I can't see it. I can't see it being a good thing. And I struggle to see him. I was going to say that the good ground or the better ground might suit Ballyadam in Cheltenham, and the sharper track might catch out, appreciate it. But I don't. That's kind of gone out of the equation for me now, and I really only see it as a 1-horse race now.
And what's appreciated like at home, David? Is he regarded as a superstar among those who know him best?
Yeah, he's gorgeous. He's a huge, big horse, big stride on him, big shoulder, going to be a chaser. And I thought until Ballyadam moved stable, I thought it was going to be something like Brave Inca and War of Attrition back in the day. And I thought that's what might happen. That was my view on the race. And, you know, I think they were two proper horses. We just don't know where Ballyadam's going to go in his or fit into his new training regime so close to Cheltenham. But I thought it was going to be a massive spectacle and a race that we could be replaying for a long, long time.
Okay, that's interesting then. A little bit of a negative from David Mullins with regard to Ballyadam. Mikey, appreciated. Everybody loves to get stuck into a short price favourite in the first. We've seen Willie with so many favourites in the Supreme. Some of them have done the business. Some of them have been beaten by superstars like Min was with Altior. Where do you see appreciated? Is he another Duvan? Is he another Vautour? You think he's that good?
I agree with David. He's a magnificent looking horse, massive big chaser. He's like driving a massive car in the motorway. He just moves beautifully. He's a great ride, great jumper, but I'd be just worried he's going to get caught out 2 mile on the Supreme Novice. I didn't think it was a great race. He won the last day in Leopardstown. I didn't think we went. I thought he had the run of the race, and I just think the ground will probably be the same. I give Ballyadam a chance in it around Cheltenham, and possibly Blue Lord will probably be ridden a bit handier as well. I just think he might get caught for a little bit of toe if they gang up around him down over the second last. I just feel he might get done for toe. I think he's too. Look, he may well win, but for me, no chance will I be backing him at 6-4. I just think he'll just get done on the first day over 2 miles.
Well, my ears pricked there because I'd like to think I was one of the founding members of the Blue Lord fan club. I think this is a good horse. I think he has a big chance, and I know you live with Brian Cooper. Brian Cooper rode him against Appreciated last time. What did he tell you?
He ran well and stayed galloping. Obviously, Appreciated is very good, but a Blue Lord had a hard race only about 20 days before that in Naas, and I'd say I don't think it was his best running Blue Lords, and I think at 12-1 he'd be more my each way value in the race. I don't think there's as much between Appreciate and Blue Lord as there is on the prices. So for me, it'd be like Ballyadam, Blue Lord, better each way value, and a toss of a coin between the two. Marginally, Ballyadam, I think he ran well, and just Cheltenham will suit him. Obviously, the thing going to Henry's, David thinks it might be a worry, and I thought it is a bit of a worry. Gordon has a way of just freshening these horses up before Cheltenham, and look at Henry's a master at it too. Look, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully, you know what I mean. I'd say a lot of his work is done, and I'm sure Henry would have been talking to someone in Gardens or whatever like that, and he'll be bringing him over there spot on. So for me, I'm not on the Appreciated team. It's to be Ballyadam is for me, and then my each way bet would be Blue Lord. Excellent.
Donn McClean, obviously Metier, it seems to be the leading British hope at the minute for Harry Fry, obviously an ex-Irish horse. Were you impressed with Metier in the Tolworth?
I was, David, but it was very heavy ground. Like the Tolworth hurdle, it's always running heavy ground, and you get totally different conditions when you come to Cheltenham. So I'm not sure as the Tolworth hurdle as a guide that it's that good a guide. I think the Irish novices look better. Soaring Glory was impressive as well in winning the Betfair hurdle the other day, but he won off a mark of 133. They gave him £10, so 143. That's still a way short of what's going to be required to win a Supreme Novices hurdle. So I agree with Blue Lord quite a lot, but I was hoping to back him for the Ballymore, and I think they have decided now, David, that they're going for the Supreme Novices hurdle.
I think so, yeah, I think so. Well, I hope so, but I think so.
And look, maybe that will suit him, but I just thought that, okay, he got beaten by Bob Ollinger in the Grade 1 race, the Lawless and Naas race over 2.5. And he was keen that day, and you kind of watch that race and think, dropping back to 2 miles, that will suit him better. But I just thought if he could settle better, I think 2.5 miles will be his trip. I think he's a kind of a staying horse, even when he won when he beat Julie Stowaway on his debut. it took him all of the 2 miles to go and win it. And if he hadn't been as keen as he was in the Lawlers and Ace race, he still finished second to Bob Bollinger, even with running as keenly as he did. And then last time as well in the Chanel Farmer race, he shaped like a horse that would be better over further again. And I'd be more interested in Blue Lord for the Ballymore than for the Supreme. But that said, in the Ballymore, he went over 2.5. He wanted to settle a bit better. So I was thinking maybe a Hud or something, or maybe just drop right in like Paul Tennant did last year on Fernie Hollow in the bumper. Speaking of which, Appreciated was the 2.5 mile horse this year, wasn't it? He was Willie's 2.5 mile horse, and Fernie Hollow was the 2 mile horse. Now with Fernie Hollow out and suddenly Appreciated, he's won his 2 races over 2 miles, so his 3 races over 2 miles. So now he's going over 2 miles. But I still think he's probably going to be better over further. I just think that's the way he's always shaped. And while he showed pace enough to beat Ballyaddam the last day, I agree with the lads. I think Ballyaddam will get closer to him if you take it's interesting to hear David's thoughts on the change in yard, because we just don't know how that's going to impact on horses. But if David thinks that it's going to have a negative, it probably won't be a positive. Moving yards so close to Cheltenham won't be a positive. Even though Henry Bromhead's a top class trainer, we know that. It's just if it will be a negative and how big a negative it's going to be. So that's going to be a factor all the way through the Cheveley Park horses. So in a nutshell, if Blue Lord were going to Ballymore, I'd be interested in him. But I think maybe Ballyaddam should be a bit closer to Appreciated in the betting than he is.
Okay, so at the moment, the best price on Ballyaddam is 7-1. Diarmuid Nolan, I'm hoping you're going to kick off with a big firework here and just tell us this is your banker to meet, and this horse is a good thing, that you're going to find us something, get the ball rolling that people can get excited about. Am I right?
Yeah, I was very, very keen on Ballyaddam. Like, I was unbelievably keen on him, but the form itself from Christmas and everything else. But David there is kind of nearly half turned me off. I'm like, through the process of elimination, you can slim yourself very quickly down to just 2 horses here. Appreciated and Ballyaddam. Metier won the Tolworth, but he beat Shake 'em Up Harry, who was kicked out of the way in 8 in the Betfair Hurdle. Soaring Glory won off 133, but in third that day was Edward Stone, nearly giving him a stone. Edward Stone himself was kicked out of the way last year in the Supreme. It's just not strong enough form. Blue Lord is a very good each way poke, but I'm not sure how naturally quick he is. And I thought that it came down between Ballyaddam and Appreciated. And Ballyaddam, that was his first run since being sick at Christmas at the Dublin Racing Festival. And as much as Jack Kennedy is flawless most of the time, I just thought that this horse would benefit from one sustained effort after the last. I thought he got to Appreciated soon enough, which meant that Appreciated then could just kind of kick away from him. So I was very confident on Ballyaddam just before David Mullins started talking, and I'm kind of coming back down off that now a small bit, but I still think Ballyaddam, if he's anyway okay there, I think he will just have too much pace. Because Dave, I can't get that image of Fernie Hollow just easily going past Appreciated last year up the hill. Just completely did him for toe, and I think Ballyaddam could do the exact same thing.
Tell you something, David Mullins, they have some respect for you. Tell you, they're all mad and Ballyaddam this, hold on a second now. David Mullins says he won't like the change of stable. Your reputation's on the line here, Dave.
I was mad on Ballyaddam. I tipped him up on the Final Furlong podcast last week, and I couldn't get enough of him. I thought it was a free bet each way. I thought he was a good thing nearly. There's not much between them. If you're giving me the choice of either the two, a 6-4, I'd have taken him. But it's not. I can't be a positive. Henry de Bromhead, very good trainer, master of his job. But it's to do with the horses. We just don't know. We don't know whether the horse is going to fit in. Did he eat up for the first week? Did he not? I don't know. Has he ever been away from home before? He's never ran. He didn't run in the bumper last year. So I can't be confident on him anymore.
Well, you're held in very high regard anyway, because your people's opinions are being affected by yours. So that's quite interesting. That's a good start for you now. That's a good start. Dean Ryan, can you make this sense of this Supreme Novices Hurdle?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've obviously got the right favourite. Appreciate it may have surprised Willie Mullins and Connections by being the 2 mile horse for him this year. But when they ran the last day and Ballyaddam tried to make the move to come past him, I thought he lengthened up nicely, and I think he showed enough pace to be the price that he is. So I definitely make him the right favourite. But I think from a punting point of view, something is going to come and try and scoot past them. If they get past them, then that might be enough. Ballyadam would be the one that you'd think could do it. And the other one that I think could do it is definitely Blue Lord. I thought it fell into the race a little bit in that Chanel Farmer. I just thought it came, maybe they can ride a bit handier. There was plenty keen behind Bob Ollinger, definitely in the Lawlers hurdle. And I would give Blue Lord a pretty strong each way fancy. And from a punting point of view, why not back Ballyadam and Blue Lord each way? And you might just collect the win. And I think you'll collect both on the place. I think they're the two. Of the UK contingent, Metier, he's only been beaten handicaps. I know the races aren't handicaps, but Shake 'em Up Harry and stuff like that. He wasn't fantastic in Ireland either. Harry Fry's done a great job with him, and I know he's his star going into the meeting, but I just can't have him. Soaring Glory again, that handicap form looks strong. I think he's plenty short enough at what is he, 8-1 now. So yeah, I think you can play them both. Blue Lord at the prices is definitely an each way play. This is where they're going to go. You'd imagine he'd come on plenty. And as much as it's a negative that Ballyadam isn't with his previous stable, he's gone to very good hands. I wouldn't be that concerned as David Mullins is, but he knows horses better than me. I think you can play them both, David. I don't see the problem in backing them both at the current prices and taking on the favourite.
Excellent. So there you go. That's our Supreme Novices Hurdle preview. As I said already, I'd be a big Blue Lord fan. I think, like Dean said, I think he can scoop some of the place money. Moving on to the Sporting Life Arkle, the second race on Tuesday, and what a race we have in store here. Current even money favourite is last year's Supreme Novice Hurdle winner Shishkin, 9-4 Energamine. It is 15-2 All Mankind, 16-1 Captain Guinness, and 20-1 Bar. Right, Mikey Fogarty, tell us all about this Energamine. What's he like at home? Is he like this time last year? I'd never heard of the horse. Is he a superstar?
We had heard of him, all right, and he was a nice horse, but he only won a maiden hurdle in Gorn. So now, usually David is a terrible judge, okay, but he did say to me last September, we were schooling, whatever like that.
Mullins, by the way, Mullins is a terrible judge, yeah, just to get that straight, yeah.
Yeah, he says, I said, what's this yoke? Shh, be quiet there, be quiet. He goes, that yoke will win the Arkle. This is before he even jumped the fence.
Come on. That's bullshit, is it?
David knows me. I don't tell lies.
No, and Mikey wouldn't speak me up either. So
no, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Last September, when we school everything like it once or twice, like a couple of times before they run the first day. I was just like, "What's this?" And he goes, "That'll win the Arkle." So, and I laughed at him and said, "Yeah, good man." And he's on track still. He's a beautiful horse, brilliant jumper. Probably got it his own way a couple of times in Ireland. So he looks, but you can't fault him that way. Look, I'm just in the Siskin camp. I think he's another Altior, and I love Cheltenham Grade 1 Supreme Novice Farm, where he came from to win the Supreme Novice. I thought the ground was, we don't know where it is, what way it'll be, but for me, I'm going to stick with Siskin. I know he's even money, but I just love his mind, the way he goes about racing. And Nicky, I think for some reason, horses just improving him with age. So for me, I'm going to stick with Siskin. But All Mankind will make it a very interesting race. In fairness to Cooper, might be placed there. He might snake in for a bit of third prize money on Franco Deport. But Harry Skelton will do well now to get All Mankind around. He is no scope. He takes a bit of riding, and he is one for. He wouldn't get around a track in Ireland, no chance. So he might get around there, but he'd be one now for towing the iron.
For towing the iron.
Towing the iron, so that if he does fall, you get fired away. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 1-0 so far to Shishkin. Mikey Fogarty likes Shishkin. David Mullins, we have to come to you now. What was it about Energamine that made you think that he was going to win the Arkle?
His presence. I seen him the first morning going out to school and over the fences with Paul, and it's when you see even a rider's face coming back after riding, it was kind of like Ruby Walsh schooling under Soul for the first morning. He's just a big, powerful, gorgeous horse and really attacks his fences. There's not much in it. There's nothing in it for me. Shishkin and Energamine. It's not a race I'd have a bet in. I'd love to be picking which one of those two I was going to be riding, but I don't know. I'm going to have to stay loyal to Willie, but I can't see much in it. I think it's a race you have to enjoy. It's going to be a great spectacle. Loads of pace. Captain Guinness. the Skeleton horse and the two boys following him. So, you know, it's going to be a great spectacle. I don't think there's much in it. If you fancy one, go have your few pound on it. But genuinely, if you're sure on one of them going to win, I probably don't think you're the cleverest person in the world.
So tell me this then. When Energumene ran in Gowan Park the first day, did you think he was an absolute moral certain? Did you know what we were going to witness? Like,
I actually rode in the maiden hurdle, I think, for a trainer down in Wexford, and I was told I had a chance by the trainer's brother.
You're some.
Go on. Elaborate.
I think Mikey got beat off 92 the other day.
83.
83, sorry.
84, 5, yeah.
Yeah, he told me I had a chance. So yeah, the best judge is on the other side of the screen here.
Start with now, David.
This is it for the night now. The tone has been set.
It's a good job. We're not sitting beside each other across the table tonight.
I'll have to come downstairs to you in a minute, Mike.
Shut up, will you? Hey!
So, Diarmuid Nolan, are you a Shishkin fan or are you an Energumene fan?
I completely agree there with the lads overall. I don't think there's much in this, but I'm a big Shishkin fan. I always have been, and sorry, not always have been. I was after the Supreme last year, just from where he came from. And Energumene must be a monster because everyone connected with the horse keeps saying it. So, and he's been very impressive so far, but I'm not convinced on the Irish bunch of 2 mile chasers. I'm not sure what's in behind him, apart from Franco Deporte, who will run on place. But, you know, like there's just a few of them that just aren't kind of great to me. And Shishkin's grade 1 form, as Mikey said earlier, of winning that Supreme, that's very strong form for me, because I really fancy Abracadabras in the Champion Hurdle. So Shishkin will be doing me a favour.
Don't be giving the game away, Diarmuid.
But Tamarack the Madhan,
watching.
Tamarack the Madhan last weekend or 2 weekends ago would have given a lot of people associated with Shishkin a lot of confidence, and I think Shishkin takes a lot of stopping, but it's a no bet race for me. I was sitting back watching it. I'll be enjoying it, has it all, but Shishkin, if I was pushed, David, I would be back in Shishkin, yes.
Okay, I'll push you, yeah. It's Shishkin for Diarmuid Nolan.
Sorry, does Frank Report definitely run the Arkle?
Well, I did a few kind of stable toury things with Willie, right? And Willie said that he likes to have kind of, you know, Energumene who'll be up there. And he said, just in case something happens, I like to have a second horse in the Arkle. And Franco Deporte, if they go too fast, might pick up the pieces, and stay into a place. So the impression I got from Willie was that he would go for the Arkle. But then you kind of go through his Marsh runners and you're kind of going,
that's some statement. I'd like to have 2 runners. I'd like to have 10 runners in the Arkle, but I can't.
Yeah, but you're only David Mullins. You're not Willie Mullins.
What's that statement makes no sense.
Donn Jennings.
He might be now. Hold on, give him time. He's still young. He could be Willie yet.
I wouldn't put it past him telling Willie what to do.
Dean Ryan, is Shishkin not the best horse running at this year's Cheltenham Festival?
Yeah, it could be. I definitely think he's the one who's going to take all the beating in the Arkle. It's great that we've got Energumene in there to probably give him something to aim at. The one thing you'd worry about, and you know, it's an even money shot for an Arkle, so this is no surprise. But if he was to miss one fence, he'd have a very good one in front of him, probably a few lengths clear, and that's not easy to come back from. That's your only concern. I think in terms of, we remember the Supreme last year, as we all do, when he got out of a bit of trouble, and he got Nico out of trouble, and then he was so tough. I think he's a special horse. I don't know where Nicky finds these. You know, you've got Altior, Sprinter Sacra. This is the third coming of that genre, so it seems. And yeah, just fantastic horse race. All mankind, I'd agree. I think he's going to struggle to jump round. But the betting is spot on. The rest of them are out with they'll be trying to pick up the pieces. So if Shishkin, something happens to him and Energumene will win, if something happens to an Energumene, then you'd imagine all mankind will win if he doesn't come a cropper. But Shishkin, I think he's super special, and we're lucky to have something to take him on. But the better horse that he runs against, the better he'll be, I would imagine.
Right, Donn McClean, right? There are no fences here, okay? You are not allowed, and we're going to cut you off if you sit on the fence here, right? I want you to tell me who is going to win between Energumene and Shishkin, okay? You are the form student. You are the person that people are going to be scratching their head and they're going to go, don't know which one of these to back. What does Donn McClean fancy? Right, Don? I want a positive answer here. Energumene or Shishkin?
So how could you choose between the, David?
No. Right, okay. Right. Let's start again, Don, right? Right, Don.
How can you compare? How can you decide one?
Well, I tell you why, Don. Because I'd say when you take in your racing TV salary, your Irish field salary, perhaps what you're getting for this as well, and all the different little things that you do. Yeah, I know you're tipping, you're a famous tipster, okay? So you are one of the most famous tipsters in Irish racing. You are one of the best tipsters in Irish racing. So if you don't know what's going to win between Shishkin and Energumene, nobody else has a hope.
So one of your advantages as a punter is you decide what races you're betting. You decide where you pick your bets, and this is not one of them. This is
I did my best, lads. I did my best.
You're probably too young to remember Bob's Down against Noddy's Ride, but this is in the Arkle, I think in the 80s. Again, the Irish Bob's Down against Noddy's Ride. It was a hell of a tussle between the two of them, and this is similar. You can't. Back to what David.
Hold on a second. I can.
Okay, well, you have to say in a minute.
Yeah.
It's they're two. Look, an awful lot depends on how the race is going to be run. I suppose you can argue that if one is an even money shot and the other is a 9-4 shot, the 9-4 shot is the value, and that's legitimate. A couple of things like how the race is going to be run. That's fascinating because All Mankind, he's a tear away, and Energumene likes to go forward. Maybe David and Mikey will disagree with this. I thought Energumene went a wee bit to his right in his last couple of runs, and that's fine. Like obviously at Gowran Park, it's okay. You're going right-handed. At Naas, it was fine as well because they went around the outside, and actually it was an advantage to be going a wee bit to your right.
Fair point, yeah.
Cheltenham in the Arkle on good ground, it's not an advantage to be going to your right, and it may not be a thing, but I just thought he did it, and he did it a little like it,
Yes, Grandad. So Shishkin wins, so does he?
No. Energumene is such an engine. Like when he won over 2.5 at Gowran Park, I thought he's a 2.5 miler. I actually backed Captain Guinness to beat him next time at Naas, back over 2 miles. I thought I still think we haven't seen the real Captain Guinness yet. Like he was ran a massive race in the Supreme last year, as the lad said. If you look at it again, he was under pressure going to the second last, and then there was all the melee at the second last where Captain Guinness was caught in the backwash. He was still travelling well in that Supreme Novices hurdle. Now he probably wouldn't have come up the hill as strongly as Shishkin, given the way he finished off his race and the way he came back at Abacadabras. But I think Captain Guinness, just a little one, I wouldn't completely give up on him yet. And Frank O'Rourke could pick up pieces. But Captain Guinness, like, they're going to go fast. All Mankind's going to be up there. And Energumene only knows one way as well. He's going to be going forward. And like on good ground, going left-handed at Cheltenham, we still have to see if Energumene can be as good as he is on soft ground in Ireland. Whereas we know Shishkin, he's done it at Cheltenham before over hurdles. Look, not that you need to have a bet in any race, but this is one that you'd nearly enjoy it more if you didn't have a bet, because it's a fascinating race. But I backed Captain Guinness earlier in the season, and I haven't fully given up on him yet, so I'll have one eye on him as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think when you take out the first two, I think Captain Guinness is the one you'd fall on, but just pick up the pieces, finish second or third if something happened. Right, so I'm going to go through the panel. We're not going to do this in every race, but I'm going to go through the panel just because I might annoy Don. In a word, Shishkin or Energumene? Diarmuid Nolan?
Shishkin.
Dean Ryan?
Shishkin.
2-0. David Mullins?
Energumene.
2-1. Mikey Fogarty? Mikey Fogarty. I repeat, Michael Fogarty. Shishkin, right? That's 3-1. Donn McClean.
Captain Guinness.
Jesus.
3. Well, we just pretend he's not in the race, Don, at the moment, okay? So, Energumene or Shishkin?
No chance, Don. He's no chance.
You think? Yeah.
He's an American. He won.
Mikey, the next time we come back to you, you're going to be in the shower.
Look, I'm saving Don a few quid there. A smart guy and a great job.
It's already done, Mikey.
Well, here, Don, if I had your money, I'd burn me on.
Don, come on. Shishkin or Energumene? Come on, it's not life or death.
I know that. Look, I'll be cheering for an Energumene against Shishkin. I'd love to see an Energumene winning it.
Okay, so it's 3-2, and I will go for Shishkin to make it 4-2. So moving on to the big race on day one, it is the Champion Hurdle. And at the moment, Honeysuckle is 5-2 favourite. Epatante is 7-2. 4-1 Goshen. 12-1 Abracadabras, who's somebody on this panel fancies, as we've been told earlier on. 16-1 Sharjah. 16-1 Silver Streak. And 20-1 former two-time champion Bouvardaire. So we're going to have to come to you first here, Diarmuid, because this is going to be very, very good. You think Abracadabras is going to win the 2021 Champion Hurdle?
Yeah, I've already on Honeysuckle, as the Racehour listeners will know. We're obviously massive Honeysuckle fans. We put her up on this panel last year to win the Mayor's Hurdle as well. We were just massive fans of her. But I think the pace of this race is just an intriguing puzzle to try and pull apart. You know, you've got Goshen and Not So Sleepy, first of all, who will be the first two. Obviously, Not So Sleepy probably won't last up there all that long, I'd say, with Goshen. But then you've got Song for Someone, you've got Jason the Militant, you've got Aspire Tower, you then have, as well as that, you've got Honeysuckle, Epatante. An awful lot of these horses really want to go forward. And you have an awful lot of pace on here, really, really strong pace. And for me, first of all, that's going to help Honeysuckle massively. Honeysuckle 5-2, don't get me wrong, that's still a good price. She carries in the best form here. But I think there's some horses in training in Ireland who prefer racing over in the UK. And it's not the accents, it's pace and ground. And I think that there's been a long-term running of this kind of trend, let's call it. You've got Special Tiara, Put the Kettle On, Jeski, Melon. You've got an awful lot of horses who didn't do much over the winter in Ireland and then went to Cheltenham and their form just went up. Look at Abracadabras's record.
I like where you're going there. Yeah, I like this. You're going well.
So, like, Abracadabras's whole career, champion bumper, fourth, a serious run. You know, they've got time ahead of him. His next best run was when he had something to aim at again, which was in Ireland, but it was at Fairyhouse. He finished just behind Envoy Allen, and behind him was Darver Star. Then his next biggest run was in the Supreme, when he probably should have won that day. Shishkin had enough go against him. But he was a bit of a sitting duck coming to the last, and Shishkin could just be a freak. But the way he travelled through that race was unbelievable. I don't believe this season that Abracadabras has had one race that's actually suited him. I think he fell in the Morgiana because he had the tactical speed to get into the right position, jumping the last hurdle, that he was just in the right place at the right time. But he's a good knack of that. I'd forgive him the first run in Down Royal. Aspire Tower beat him, but he was given Aspire Tower weight that day. And Aspire Tower, for me, kind of got away with him. Rachel set brilliant fractions, which Rachel is obviously just amazing at doing. And, you know, Jack couldn't get back into it. He was sick at Christmas. And then last time in the Irish Champion Hurdle, Rachel Blackmore injects pace into that race 3 out. And Irish races are very open to that when it happens. David Mullins did it on Kenboy, Flooring Porter at Christmas. When a jockey injects pace mid-race in an Irish race, because they're such tactical affairs, it can blow a race wide open. So whilst Honeysuckle for me is the most likely winner, there's just a tiny fragment of blood in the water where a tiny bit of me doesn't believe what Honeysuckle kind of did that day, as much as I absolutely love her. I think Abracadabras had nothing to pull him up towards Honeysuckle. He ends up chasing Honeysuckle off a slow pace. It doesn't suit anyone. Jack Kennedy is a hostage of fortune on this horse. And anyone that says that Abracadabras has to be held up, that's just not true. He really doesn't. He sits off a pace all the time. The only reason he ends up at the back into Supreme early is because David Russell does that trick of his where he goes to take an extra turn and the horses actually side on when they go off. So like Abracadabras sits off the pace. He will be able to travel off this pace. I see it, that he'll sit behind Epatante and Honeysuckle, I'd say, might be the third wave, just behind the kind of second wave of them. I think he'll be able to travel with them. Honeysuckle is going to be very hard to pass, but I think if any horse can quicken, because the rest of them that I've mentioned there, Jason the Militant, Aspire Tower, Song for Someone, they have to try and maintain a gallop with Goshen, who I don't think has any chance, by the way, on the old course on good ground. I can't have Goshen at all. But the rest of them have to try and maintain a gallop and then outstay Honeysuckle, who's a 2.5 mile really special mare, giving her £7. The only horse for me who can do something different is Abracadabras. And Sharjah as well, but I think Sharjah's been there. He has enough goals now at a Champion Hurdle. I think Abracadabras is the only one bringing something slightly different into this race. I think he prefers racing over in the UK. He'll prefer the better ground. I think 12-1 about Abracadabras is huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah, but that was very impressive now, fairness. That's something I'd say you were practicing all day, were you?
No, not genuinely. I've said this enough on the podcast over the last few weeks. I think that's.
My God, do you know what? I was kind of, and to be honest, I was kind of an Abracadabras fan, and then I'll tell you my problem with Abracadabras is, I can see all those points, and as you're saying them, I'm going, yeah, God, he's right about that too. Yeah. And at the end of the day, my only fear is that he's just not good enough.
That's a very valid fear, and it could get to the point where I was happy to give him excuses all season because, you know, the clock backs up that the pace just hasn't been in those races. But if he goes to the Champion Hurdle, he could get to Honeysuckle and just not be good enough to go by her. So, like, I'm on Honeysuckle, but I think at the moment, at the price, I think Abracadabras is the one that could improve as well.
Well, Diarmuid, you should be very proud of yourself because you made very valid points there. So well done. Donn McClean.
You're a good boy, Demo. You're
very condescending there, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No, because I was expecting to ridicule you. And I couldn't ridicule you after that argument, so fair play. Donn McClean, Honeysuckle, look, I've given up taking on Honeysuckle because the amount of people I've told, she's a fraud, she's a fake, she's going to get found out someday. Yeah, she get found out in Hatton's Grace. No, she definitely get found out in last year's Irish Champion Hurdle. I know I said she get found out in last year's Champion Hurdle, but she'll definitely get found out in this year's Irish Champion Hurdle. She just keep winning that. So why will she not just keep winning at Cheltenham?
I've never really taken her on, David. I've never been really with her properly either. But yeah, look, she's unbeaten. We don't know where her ability ends really, and I think she even did something new in the Irish Champion Hurdle. Like you, I thought 2.5 miles was a thing. The Mayor's Hurdle was 2.5 miles. The Hatton's Grace, the Hatton's Grace hurdles, especially last year's, and she was so impressed, was 2.5. And 2 miles in the Irish Champion Hurdle, I thought she was vulnerable. But like, to do what she did, that to me, it moved her up again. Like, she was top of the pops, and to win the Irish Champion Hurdle like that, just to blow it apart like she did, that, like, even to watch it, like the way she quickened on the run to the second last, flew the second last flight, pricked her ears and went on again. Like, it was brilliant to watch. The only shame was there was nobody there. There was nobody back in the winner's enclosure whenever she came back in. She'd have got some reception there when she came back in.
I gave her a clap, in fairness.
Yeah, I gave her a clap too. But that was the day that the 3 Willie Mullins good things had won the first 3 races. And then they all rolling up onto her. She would have got some reception at Blackmore as well. It would have been, anyway, they weren't there. But look, she was that good. And she could do it again. She's got course form, albeit over 2.5. I definitely have her in front of Epitant, who, you know, I know she's the reigning champ, but she does have to bounce back after a run the last day in the Christmas Hurdle. I know that she will bounce back, but I just think Honeysuckle, they both get £7. I think Honeysuckle is a better mare. But I've backed Abracadabras. I agree with a lot of what Diarmuid said for all reasons. Yeah. The Supreme Novices Hurdle last year, that was a hell of a run. Like, it really was. He was done no favours at the second last either, not least of which because he was left in front. And if you watch it again, Shishkin wasn't travelling as well as him going to the last. They both quickened. And Shishkin actually got past him. And, you know, there's a bit of talk about him not getting up the hill. He was actually coming back at Shishkin going to the line in the last few strides. So it was a massive run. He hasn't had a good ground. And it was even soft ground that day, which... it's going to be probably better ground for Champion Hurdle Day this year. He was a second slower than Epitant in the Champion Hurdle last year only. So I think he shouldn't be a 12-1 shot. Look, he's not the most likely winner of the race. I think Honeysuckle is the most likely winner of the race, and that'll be brilliant. But from a betting perspective, I still think that the 12-1 of Abracadabras is valued. Like a lot of what Diarmuid said, I fully agree with a lot of that. It's going to be a hell of a pace. Like there's an awful, like Goshen only knows one way. As far as Tower, he likes to lead. Jason Militant leads, and he's a player as well. Actually, I thought he was impressive the last day. But I think Abracadabras, yeah, he's the overpriced horse in the race for me.
Wow! Of all the things I expected tonight, I didn't think the first 2 people that come to the Champion Hurdle preview will be tipping Abracadabras, but both have made very valid points. Dean, are you going to make it a hat trick for Abracadabras?
No.
I suggest not.
No, I'm not going to. But the 2 lads would have Eskimos convinced they needed to buy more snow, wouldn't they? With that, the fair play, like Abracadabras is probably overpriced at 12-1. But will it win? I don't think it will win. I think Honeysuckle what happened in the Irish Champion Hurdle was a level that I didn't think she could actually get to. In fact, myself and Dem on the Racehour pod, we committed treason by actually going against her for that race, which we've never done before, which, you know, we've egg on our face, but happy to have it in terms of her career. What she did there was just super, super special. And it just showed you, I think, that Henry had her, you know, probably not quite peaking, which he should do as a trainer, peak for the big pig days. And he didn't have her quite right, I think, when she got home in front of Ronald Pump, although she still did the job. She looks better than ever, and we really don't know what the ceiling is. I think Rachel can probably do what she wants as well on Honeysuckle. So I think Honeysuckle will win. So I got to stay fair, and I think we've seen chinks in the rest. You know, Epatant's let the side down a little bit, and Abacadabras was well beaten there the last day. Goshen is the one that could surprise everybody, and people are easy enough to write it off. There's been some disappointing runs. There's been a time between drinks as well, isn't it? But that last run, I thought that was pretty good, and I'm not surprised that there's been so much positive vibes about it. It'd be great for the Moors as well if that could happen because of what happened last year in the Triumph. So I wouldn't begrudge them pulling this off, but Honeysuckle should win.
Okay, so it's a pretty confident vote for Honeysuckle for Dean Ryan. God only knows where Mikey Fogarty is going to appear from now. Could be the bathroom, could be the kitchen. Mikey, are you decent?
All right, David, I'm here.
Oh, you're on the couch. That's all right. You have your clothes still on. That's good. What's going to win the Champion Hurdle, Michael?
First of all, Diarmuid Nolan's what he went through there, I thought was very good. So well done, Diarmuid. Yeah, I'd have to give you that. Cooper tells me you're from Kerry, are you?
I am, yeah.
Whereabouts?
Carcedine.
Right, I don't know Kerry. Anyway, the Kerry lads looking out for each other.
What was the point of the question there, Mikey?
I didn't know. I thought I might know, but I don't know Kerry that well. I
thought he was going to say Enniscorthy.
Maurice Fitzgerald's from there, Mikey.
Oh, I've heard of him.
You have.
He could make the ball talk, that fella. Yeah. And O'Neill's weight one. Yeah. The Champion Hurdle. Yeah, I agree with the lads. And
which ones they disagreed? Dean went for Honeysuckle
and Donn there, but look, I feel I was like you, David. Honeysuckle get bet, but she keeps winning. I just felt the last day they went steady, and she stole it from the back of the third last. Like that flattered her a bit, but she still won. Look, I genuinely don't know, and it's a race. I think I agree with them that they're going to go too hard up front, and Jack Kennedy could mooch into it. But if I had to pick a ride, I'd pick Honeysuckle. The £7 is massive, and she bet Benny the Do, who's one of the best horses in Closs Sutton. So I just think if I had to pick a ride, as long as Rachel can just not be put on her head too much, and her jumping holds up for the last 3 hurdles, I think she'll win. Okay,
so 2 votes for Honeysuckle, 2 votes for Abacadabras. David Mullins, what wins the 2021 Champion Hurdle?
Interesting there, yeah. I'm completely. You could back Abacadabras, lads. Diarmuid, fair play to you. That was a great short story. You're right in a way. He has a lot of ability. I think he has as much ability as any of them. But this horse is a monkey. There's no question about it. If I thought you'd have seen that a mile off. He ran out through a wing in a bumper in Leopardstown for no reason with Lisa O'Neill. He nearly ran out through the outside wing in the bumper coming down the hill in the Cheltenham bumper. He hit the front too soon last year in the Supreme Novices when it was handed to him, and he stopped. He tried to turn around in the Morgiana this year. His full brother Magic Tricks turned in Punchestown on the bridle, and went to do a UE in Punchestown there maybe November. I think this is a family of monkeys.
A ringing endorsement for Abacadabras, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree with you, Diarmuid. I think you could make excuses for him till the cows come home. He has plenty of ability. You see that, but he gets beat, and he gets beat by different classes of horse. Fair enough if you only get beat by Shishkin half a length or whatever, or I could get beaten half a length, I think. So,
sorry, Mikey.
I don't agree with him.
Top of the Ra.
Yeah.
So So, David, Abacadabra is a monkey and won't be winning the champion hurdle, but what will?
The way Honeysuckle done it the last day, Mikey said he thought she stole the race from the third last home in Leopardstown on soft ground. That's 6 furlongs out in Leopardstown in a grade 1. If you can steal a race from there, you're better than Arkle.
I wouldn't know.
No, you wouldn't. You must have been riding in it. If she stole it there and someone stole the race in the third last, there was only one person that she could have stole it from. And that was you, Mike.
Well, there was a couple of lads in behind, and they should have got a run on. They got a run on a few behind. Diarmuid, here, David, Jennings, Diarmuid.
I'm listening. I can hear you.
Diarmuid Nolan gave us he was spot on. About the whole race, and I think if there's any more factual knowledge that we get tonight, it'll be some performance get better than that.
It was like Roald Dahl, wasn't it?
I was going, what is this guy going? What's he going on about? And then I was going, yeah.
It's one of them ones where you start off and you go, geez, I'm going to make bits of him now when he's finished. And by the time he's finished, you're going, geez, he's after making bits of me there.
Yes.
So we have 2 votes. We have 2 votes for Abacadabras, and we have basically 3 for Honeysuckle. I'm just going to throw Aspire Tower in there, who isn't good enough, I don't think, to win a race of this caliber. But I think you'll see a career best from Aspire Tower. Puppy Power rides. I think 20-1 each way about Aspire Tower. If he can get back to the sort of form he was in at the early stage of last season, I think he's a very good horse. See him running well and maybe sneaking a place, but I agree. I think Honeysuckle is going to be very hard to beat. So moving on to the National Hunt Chase, the 3-mile sixer. It is Royal Pagaille. Very, very, very well back in the last couple of days. Looks like Royal Pagaille is going to go here 15-8, 9-2 Galvin, now trained by Ian Ferguson. It is 8-1 Longhouse Poet, 8-1 Latest Exhibition, 11-1 Next Destination, 12-1 Secret Reprieve, 12-1 Ascaria 10, and 14-1 Bar. Mikey, I think we're going to have to let Diarmuid go first after the last race, are we?
Yeah, but not quite as long. This is the National Chase, you know what I mean?
just one chapter here, Diarmuid.
The Royals are on at 9:30. I love the Royal family. You know, I have a thing for Megan.
And you know what? She likes the redheads too, Mikey.
I actually got called Prince Harry a couple of times on my travels. Would you believe that?
I would well believe it, yeah. I'd well believe it, yeah.
Ever since that scene in Suits in the library, sure, how could you not like Meghan Markle?
I've watched that a few times. I won't lie to you. Right, Diarmuid. National Hunt Chase, Diarmuid.
Right, so I'll be very, very quick here. I'm not sure about this field at all. I think it could boil down to the front 2, Galvin and Royal Pagaille. I don't believe fully what Royal Pagaille has been doing. I mean, if we're going to take his Haydock run literally, well, then Bristol de Mai should be odds on for the Gold Cup. You know, he beat Potter's Legend that day by, I know it was 16 lengths, but he could have beaten that horse by 100 lengths. But still, Potter's Legend was stuffed next time out by Lord de Mainil. He's never ran at Cheltenham before. He has to improve for the National Hunt Chase, so he has to improve an awful lot for the Gold Cup. So I would be going for Galvin here, definitely. I just think he has some very strong form, loves the track, we know that. And I know he swapped yards, but I still think Galvin, he's hardy enough and everything else. He's been fresh for this now. I think he'll take a bit of stopping here.
Donn McClean, the National Hunt Chase, is it a race that excites you from a punting perspective?
It did when I thought Coco Beach was going for it, and now that he's probably not, it doesn't anymore.
Well, Coco Beach owes you nothing, and you made a fortune off him in the T&cs.
He's rated 150. He's a pound lower than Galvin. He's got Cheltenham Festival form twice. He stays really well. The National Hunt Chase, to me, that was the race for him. I still don't know why he's not going for it. Like, you're going to run him in a handicap off 150. I think the National Hunt Chase was different. Anyway.
Good to see you've got over it anyway, Don.
Yeah, look, Royal Pagaille, is he definitely going here, yeah?
Look, I think he will. He's 15-8 now, Don. That tells a story.
Yeah, because, you know, he'd have been a worthy Gold Cup contender, I think. So he has to be favoured for this. But look, this has been Galvin's target since last season. Last year, he's got Cheltenham Festival form over shorter. He stays well. And, yeah, we're back to the moving of yards. So that's, again, that'll
the only thing I'll say, okay, if you do fancy Galvin, in my spare time, I'm a journalist for the Racing Post, and I spoke to Ian Ferguson today, and Ian Ferguson bought the horse, broke the horse, pre-trained the horse, and Galvin spends his summers in Ian's as well. So there might just be, I know David's point earlier on the show about Ballyadam and stuff, but just, I'd say that Galvin would be pretty comfortable in the surroundings.
No, it's interesting because...
Sorry, Mike.
It makes no difference.
What?
That he's going to feel comfortable back in the home place.
Is that bullshit, yeah?
Well, but that'll be my opinion, yeah. It would be. Like, you know, that's like the horse telling you, oh, I'm going to run a bit better here. I feel comfortable back in my own box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what, as in, like...
That's like the Meath footballers saying, oh, we'll bring the Dubs to Navan. I'm in my own dressing room here and in my own place. We'll beat him. Not going to happen.
But like that's a valid point, Mike. But like, put it this way, right? If you said, have you a girlfriend at the minute?
I'm meeting someone, yeah.
Right. So just say, right, if you were with your girlfriend, right, and then you stayed in our house and you wake up the next morning, you go, well, I've stayed here before. I know where the shower is. I know how to make a cup of tea. I can put in a bit of toast. That's grand. But if you just say went out one night and you ended up with somebody just for the first time, and you went back to their house, and you woke up the next morning, you say, I haven't a clue where the kettle is. I don't even know where the kitchen is. I don't know what's going on. So your head is all confused. So Galvin is actually going to be comfortable because he knows where everything is in Ian Ferguson's house.
Yeah. Look, I'd have a different way of thinking about things like that than you would. I can say.
We'll come back to Mikey's love life later on in the show. No, sorry, who did I interrupt there? Don, sorry, Don. Don, who's going to win the National Hunt Chase?
I'd say Royal Pagal, that he's the right favourite. Next Destination's interesting. He's a classy horse. Just like he finished third behind Sam Crow in the Ballymore a few years ago. So he's got Cheltenham Festival form. He's had some time off. He's gone to Paul Nicholls. He's been good his last two runs. He's probably going to have to step up again if he's going to win a National Hunt Chase. But no, like I think Galvin, this has been his time. This has been his race. It's been his target since early in the season, really. And the fact that he's got good Cheltenham Festival form as well. He was only just beaten last season. I think he's been favourite all the way through until Royal Pagal was pitched into the middle of it. But I still think he'll run a big race. Okay,
so Galvin 9-2, a bit of each way value there, Don.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Cocoa Beach would have been fairer, but sure, we'll go for Galvin in the absence of Cocoa Beach.
Right, Dean Ryan, can we make sense of the longest race at the Cheltenham Festival?
Yeah, I think if Royal Pagal goes here, I know it's 3 miles 6 and a bit, but it's a bit of a certainty. That horse is on a serious roll. That when the switch was kind of flicked since December, it just looks a real machine. I'd be taking a tilt at the Gold Cup. They've got Monkfish for it next year, so why not have a crack with it this time round? I think it's open enough for that one to go there, but it doesn't look like it. Betting is telling you that where it's going to go, and it looks like it's the National Hunt Chase. I think it's going to be very hard to beat. I mean, I know that Galvin's been lined up for this for a long time, but they haven't even popped it back out even since before Christmas. So it was a bit unlucky last year to bump into Imperial Aura, and he'll run a very solid race. I think what you're saying about the flip to Ferguson is a positive. It could have gone anywhere, right? So it's gone somewhere safe and home. I think.
No, Mikey said that doesn't make any difference.
I know, but I like that. If you're a Galvin fan, I think that would have made you feel a little bit better about it for sure. A couple of prices. Longhouse Poet, there was plenty of money around for that over the last couple of weeks. I think it was a decent each way price, not so much now, around 8-1. That definitely improved for the step up the last day. It was good to see that come back and run a nice race. And Dickie Diver could go here. I mean, he wouldn't be the biggest shock in green and gold. Run with horses like Manila Indo, Liz Nagar Oscar. Plenty more to come from that horse, I think. And 14-1, if you were just going to find an each way poke in the race, that's probably where I'd go. But I think Royal Pagaille will win. He's just no price anymore.
15-8, Royal Pagaille. David Mullins, Lord Royal. Now, here's a horse that I thought had the world at his feet over fences. He's a brilliant jumper when he meets them right. Is he just a little bit soft?
Yeah, he looks a bit soft, Dave. He's a big, huge horse, and he looks like a horse that hasn't filled into himself. Probably 2 weeks still. Maybe he'll always be that way. It looks like a horse that you'd always think when the going gets tough, you'll see the best of him, and he'll always be doing his best work later on. But it's gone the opposite way for him. And maybe it's just weakness. Wouldn't completely write him off. Could be a nicer horse in the spring. But I couldn't really have him now of what's in the race. I think it's a very strong race.
Yeah, do you like getting in it?
I do. I like the top two, definitely. You know, I ride a guy. You can't go on handicap form going into graded horses. They'd never work for me or Champagne West in the Gold Cup. No chance. Brain power in the Champion Hurdle, no chance. It doesn't work if you ask me, and I stay away from it as a rule. So I'm going to have to go with Galvin. I know his handicap form, but at least it's been proven with Imperial Aura there last year. It's been the plan the whole time, and I don't think Gordon Elliott. I know he doesn't train him now, but I don't think Gordon Elliott gets those things too far wrong.
No, certainly not. Mikey, have you a tip for us?
Galvin, yeah, Gordon Elliott. I just hope. No, this was. Look, Ian Ferguson's a great trainer, but
I knew you'd tip him after saying all that. No. I was going to put in. Oh, you're summing me up. You're after getting worse since I last seen you.
I fancy the horse. Yeah, and I just.
Mikey, he doesn't know where the kettle is.
Yeah, we have a lot of issues in this house. That's just one of many of them, you know. But yeah, I just hope Gordon got his last couple of bits work into him before he goes.
Well, he's gone.
Stop.
He's gone. He's there. He's been there for the last couple of days. But so Galvin, okay, Galvin for you, Mike. So it's pretty much kind of two Galvins, two Royal Pagais, three Galvins for the lads. I can see Lord Royal running quite well, 16-1 at the moment. Right, lads, the two years right out in Willie Mullins. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to give you one job, right? One job, right? We're coming on to the best bets on day one, okay? So I'm going to get the best bet for you on day one. I just one job, right? Who has the most say with Willie? Would it be Mikey or David? What do you think?
Neither,
no. Well, can I give you a little task? Right, your task for the next 6 or 7 days, right, is to just talk a bit of sense into Willie, right, and tell him it is utterly pointless running St. Sam in the Triumph Hurdle, and tell him that the Boodles, I can guarantee you now, tell him that if he runs St. Sam in the Boodles off a mark of 139, he will have a Cheltenham Festival winner. So if something goes wrong on day one, Appreciate It doesn't win, Fishkin beats Energamine, Sharjah doesn't win the Champion Hurdle, I'm telling you, lads, St. Sam will win the Boodles. So
the only way you can do that, David, the only way you can do that is tell him that he's tell Willie that St. Sam is a certainty for the Triumph.
Is that the truth? Yeah.
That's the only way that might affect his say, because he might look somewhere else because he knows me and Mikey haven't a clue.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I told him.
We tell him the truth. Though. We tell him.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I said to him last week. I said, Willie, this St. Sam is a good thing off 139. The next interview I hear is kind of like, oh, we're thinking of Triumph for St. Sam. It's like, here. But anyway, there's your task for next week, lads. Try and get Willie to run St. Sam in the Boodles, because I think if St. Sam runs in the Boodles, I think he's got a cracking chance. So before we move on to day two, I want the best bet on day one at the festival. Mr. Dean Ryan.
Yeah, I'll go with Honeysuckle, day one.
Diarmuid Nolan.
Abracadabras in the Champion Hurdle, that the quick pace will stop him being such a monkey.
Can you give us them reasons again for Abracadabra, Diarmuid?
We'll be another 6.5 hour show then, Dave, I think.
Oh, very impressive. Donn McClean, your best bet on day one.
Abracadabras as well, the champion at the prices.
Whoa. Mikey Fogarty, your best bet on day one.
Is the Boodles on day one?
Oh, yes. Have you got something for us?
I agree with you.
But you're... well, you have a bit of convincing to do now. You have 7 days to change his mind.
Look, if he runs in that, I fancy him. But Blue Lord each way in the spring.
Excellent. And David Mullins?
Oh, God. I don't know. I see where you're coming from saying Sam, but Honeysuckle, if Henry has her in that sort of form again, unbeatable.
Okay, Honeysuckle for David Mullins. So there you go. That is day one of the Cheltenham Festival covered. We're going to go through the handicaps later on in the show. So moving on to day two, and it kicks off with the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. And what a race we have in store here. At the moment, best price available. Plenty of money in the last couple of days for Bob Ollinger. Is currently 11-4. 11-4 joint favourite, Galler de Menil. 7-2 Brave Man's Game. And it's 16-1 bar. Donn McClean, Bob Ollinger, Galler de Menil. Ireland have a strong hand here.
They do. Yeah. No, it's Galler de Menil. He's progressed all season, hasn't he? Like when he won at Christmas, he was kind of a little bit under the radar, and he was so impressive in winning. And then I think didn't yourself and Gavin Lynch put him up on, one of you put him up on your show?
Yeah, that was Gavin. I put up Bravesman's game at 16-1.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty handy now as well. But like, yeah, because I think after Gaillard de Menil won at Leopardstown, he was still a 16-1 or a 14-1 shot. And then I think Gavin and a few other people put him up. Suddenly his price collapsed. And then you end up like a horse that you like and you're kind of thinking might be a bit of value. Then you're looking for reasons why he might be too short. I think that's the way my bizarre mind works. But he was good.
I think a lot of people work in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, look, Braveman's game, I know you like him, and he's obviously the best of the British. He was good in winning the shallow hurdle, but I just like Bob Ollinger. I thought, like, his run against Fernie Hollow, we didn't get to see that form enhanced by Fernie Hollow, or how he was going to progress after that. But he ran him very, very close over a trip that was probably too short for him, and then he danced in the last time, and he was really impressive in winning the Lawlers race. And add all of that to the fact that he's always been really highly regarded by connections, hasn't he? Like Henry de Bromhead has always just held him in really high regard. He's a point-to-point winner and a bumper winner. He just the way that he did it the last, and the way that he quickened. I know Blue Lord ran freely, as we've discussed earlier on, but he won with tons in hand, and he's just a horse who should be able to progress again. And I think the fact that Henry is thinking of or still or was considering the Supreme, I think that's a positive for a horse who stays 2.5. That his trainer, as good a judge and as good a trainer as Henry de Bromhead, still thought that he would have the pace for the 2-mile race. So yeah, I think look, it's again like the Novice Chase. The Novices hurdles, they're fascinating because it's whatever's going to improve. Again, like whatever wins these races, they're probably going to put up a career best. But I think Bob Ollinger has all that scope for progression, as well as the ability and as well as the reputation. So yeah, I think there's plenty to like about him.
Lovely stuff. So a ringing endorsement for Bob Ollinger from Donn McClean. Dean, please tell me that you're a Braveman's Game fan.
No, I think they're three fascinating runners, and this could turn out like the Albert Bartlett did last year, with just some very, very good horses going at it over the last. For me, that like visually, if you look at them, and I like to do this, David. I did the chess piece.
Look at horses.
I'm not going back there, right? I'm not going back to the chess piece thing from a couple of years ago. We'll leave that. But Bob Ollinger is like the best of both of the other two. So Braveman's Game, big old tank. I think he's been compared.
Whoa, a big old tank.
Yeah, I like him, but I think he might get done for a bit of toe. I think Gaillard de Menil's got all the speed. I think Bob Ollinger's got a combination of the two, and Bob Ollinger is the one I like for the race, and that's where I'll be leaning. But they've all got super bright futures. I think Gaillard de Menil might be better at 2. Braveman's Game better over further, and this could be Bob Ollinger's spot.
Big old tank.
That's a good thing.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't say boats. Boats.
Dean loved top of the game, David, as well. He loves that kind of horse.
Oh yeah.
Another big old tank. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. He loves those kind of horses.
In a good way.
Diarmuid, are you a Braveman's Game fan?
I'm not, but Dave, are you not worried about Braveman? About like Paul Nicholls has an absolutely stinking record with novice hurdlers, like. Full stop. Like, I mean, what is it? 2 places in the Ballymore since 2002, 3 places, no winners in the Albert Bartlett since 2006, 2 winners and a place since 2002 in the Supreme, the last one of them being 2011. Like, Irving went off 9-4 against Batur. Like,
I backed him. For you. One of them ones you say, how on earth did I back Irving at a shorter price to beat Batur?
I think I backed Wicklow Brave that day, to be fair. But I'm all over Gaillard de Menil with a long time, since after Christmas. I think he showed at Christmas how quick he is, the speed he showed that day after pulling early, and Magic Days and first one since, Mr. Incredible won. He was second. He's gone to win since, and then he showed that he stayed as well last time. So I think he's shown it all, and I think he hurdles an awful lot quicker. Not an awful lot. He hurdles a bit quicker than Bob Ollinger and Braveman's Game. I think they're both chasers in the making. While I actually think Gaillard de Menil could win this, and he'll go on and win the champion hurdle next season. I think he's I think he's a really proper horse. I absolutely love him, and. Gaillard de Menil takes a lot of stopping.
Jesus, this is not going well for me. Right, boys, you're in the Mullins camp. You're in Clydesutton every morning. How good is this Galler de Manil, Mike?
It wouldn't be for me, Dave.
Good man, Mike.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I agree with Dean Ryan. I think he's spot on about what he said about them all. Braves man's game. Sure, Denman got bet in it for Nichols. Probably a lovely horse. And your man Bob Ollinger is my novice nap of the week.
God, I know, like Mikey, you'd be kind of stuttering and, you know, we'd be talking about women and different rooms and there'd be drinks behind you. But when you actually get stuck into one, you say things like that, they tend to come true. Like,
yeah, he's got it. He's got it. He ran Fernie Hollow to a neck, and he's the best horse in training, novice wise. Yeah, so he's the best field I've got in a long time.
Fernie Hollow.
Yes.
Okay, we'll remember that for next season. David Mullins, are you a Bob Ollinger, Brave Man's Game, or Galler de Manil fan?
Bob Ollinger all the way. Yeah, I was there in Gorn and I stood in the stand watching Bob Ollinger and Fernie Hollow coming up the straight. I've never seen two animals, just the size, power and speed of them coming up the straight in Gorn. And I'd say that's why Fernie Hollow broke, you know, the inside track in Gorn coming that quick up the straight. It probably didn't do any of them either favours. It was heavy ground the same day. I'd never seen speed like it. And I think that run, his first run over hurdles, was probably about a stone better getting beat by Fernie Hollow than it was beating the Simon Muneer horse in
Blue Lord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
My view.
Okay, so Bob Ollinger, we've got some very, very strong votes for Bob Ollinger. And unfortunately, I'm on my own with Brave Man's Game, who I think is a superstar waiting to happen. I can see the point. Denman got beaten in one of these by Nicanor. But I think Brave Man's Game is a very, very good horse. Moving on to the race formerly known as the RSA. It is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Monkfish is currently best price 8-11. 8-1 Royal Pagaille, who is the option of both the Gold Cup and the National Hunt Chase. 11-1 Eclat Arrear. It is 11-1 the Big Breakaway. 14-1 Latest Exhibition. 14-1 Next Destination. And 16-1 Bar. Mikey Fogarty, does Latest Exhibition definitely not run at Cheltenham?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, he definitely doesn't run.
Pardon?
He definitely doesn't run.
No, definitely doesn't run.
No, definitely not. Are you sick? Ask him there. Put him on there. Put him on. Are you sick?
I'm grand.
No, are you sick? He's not going to Cheltenham.
Sure. Look, I don't think you should ever run away from one horse, but I suppose when there's an 80,000 grade one to be 1-2 weeks later, it makes probably more sense because I think Monkfish is the best novice trainer, being honest with you.
Yeah. Will he get a few quid for this now for this cameo? Will he?
Yeah, 500.
As I said, he's not worth 50, so don't worry. Buy him a gin and tonic there when we're back out.
Hold on a second, just to let you know, right? I just seen the page now, right? So I was chatting to Willie today, right? And this story, Rachel Blackmore has been named on Willie Mullins' team sheet for Cheltenham, as has Brian Cooper, with the 7-time leading trainer at the festival finalising his plans for next week. After David Mullins retired and son Patrick opted not to turn professional, leaving him unable to take part as an amateur due to COVID-19 regulations, Mullins was left with a few positions to fill for those horses who will not be ridden by the stable's number one, Paul Townend. Mullins said, this is what he said, lads, as well as Paul, we'll be using Rachel, Danny Mullins, Brian Hayes, Brian Cooper, Mikey Fogarty, and Conor McNamara. Now, there you go, boys. There's an exclusive.
That's the right note list in the morning, I'm telling you. I'll be writing out, what's the Monkfish or something. No, I won't be writing him either.
And then later on in the quote, later on in the quote, he said, every one of the jockeys I'll be using is more than capable of stepping up when asked. We have a great team of jockeys here. They've all ridden plenty of winners in Ireland and have lots of experience. And hold on now, this is the bit for you, Mikey. Mikey has already ridden festival winner for me. I have the utmost faith in them all. So there you go. You never know, Mike.
Mikey Fogarty rides Allaho in the Ryanair Chase. You heard it here first.
Anyway, back to Monkfish, right? Just put your man back on for 1 second there, Mike. Brian, you've got closer to Monkfish than anybody. How good is Monkfish? Did you think you were going to beat him 2 times ago?
I thought I'd beat him at Christmas. I just thought when I came at him, we were going very quick down to the last for 3 mile grade 1, and there was a jump in it, and he just outstayed me. So, and my lad had a little problem in Leopardstown the last day, but still, I just can't see. I can't beat him anyway. I've tried different things, tried riding different ways and coming at him earlier or later, and it just doesn't seem to work. So, if
it's any consolation, I think the race between Latest Exhibition and Monkfish is the race I enjoyed most this season. It was brilliant to watch, even the camera angles. Like the 2 of you were pinging everything.
Yeah, it's like I've ridden some very, very good 3 mile chasers, but it's just the hardest I've gone down to the last in Leopardstown in a 3 mile grade 1, if you know what I mean. I was actually looking at Monkfish the other day in Willys again. I'd say he's improved from Leopardstown the last day to now. He just looks to be, he's got physically stronger, I think, a bit more. So I'd say if he improves a bit more, he could end up inside the Hunter's Lodge. He'd be going up to hit more hard.
Thanks very much for that little cameo, Brian. What do you think, Mikey? Monkfish, is Monkfish the bomb, is he?
I don't know if he's the bomb. He's we're jumping on the bandwagon a little bit. These are novices. Algom has done 1-2 Gold Cups. Obviously, he'll probably win the RSA, but is ranking him to beat him? What's the second favourite?
Second favourite at the moment is Royal Pagay, who doesn't look like he's going to show up here.
No hope of beating him, no.
No. One that
he's a great attitude, great mind, and he looks great in the yard. Brian is right. He's strengthened up a little bit, and they do a great. It suits him. So look, Monkfish all the way.
David Mullins, are we going to catch up time here? Is it simple? Is it just Monkfish?
Simple.
Beautiful. Lovely pose. That's all we need at Monkfish. Dean Ryan, Monkfish.
Yeah, Monkfish will win. And if you're going to bet without or take a shot on each way shot, I'd throw two of Tizards into the mix with Fiddler on the Roof and the Big Breakaway. I think there's plenty of talent, certainly in the Big Breakaway. Don't know how good that one might be yet. And he's 11-1. So if you want to back something against it, I'd go with a Tizard too. But Monkfish looks excellent.
Diarmuid Nolan, Monkfish, discuss.
Yeah, Dave, I don't think there is much to discuss. I actually like seeing the likes of M. Allen and Monkfish. It just means one less race to bother with. So Monkfish, because I can get back to my my short stories then in the other races. Monkfish just wins, Dave. That's all. Just
wins. Lovely. We'll let Roald Dahl concentrate on other races. Donn, Monkfish, yeah.
Look, you can't. You can't knock holes in him. Even last year when Fury Road and Latest Exhibition came either side of him, they both headed him on the run in. He battled back well. Paul Townend said afterwards that he was just raw and immature then. He's improved for fences. He jumps fences superbly. He's got pace as well. He beat Latest Exhibition over 2 miles 5 last time in the Flow Gas Chase, but he stays well enough to win an Albert Bartlett. Yeah, no, it's bar an accident. And Claddereer is an interesting horse, I think. Like, he's a progressive horse. He was good in his 2 chases, and he stayed on well to beat Ascaria Tennis. Jumping warmed up the last day at Naas. It got better, and he'll probably jump better again. I think he's a lovely horse, but it's very difficult to see him beating Monkfish.
Would you ever back an odds-on shot, Don?
I find it hard, Dave. Really, you can argue odds-on shots are value sometimes, but if you're getting 2s on about a 10-1 on shot, that's value. But especially in national hunt racing, I would find it hard to back an odds on shot. Yeah.
So it'd be kind of a very odd occasion. You might just think that a price is too good to be true.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one now. So it would be the very odd occasion. Yeah.
Would Monkfish be 1 at 8-11? No.
Well, probably not. Because it's a novice chase and he's a novice chaser. And it's 3 miles at Cheltenham. He'll probably win, and you can argue maybe that shade of odds. I'm sure the book is to try and get him as well. You'd probably get even money. I'm sure. So that.
You think so? Jeez, I'd be surprised.
You think? Maybe the race is up now. If Latest Exhibition is definitely out, Royal Pagay not running, Next Destination's not running. Probably going for the 4 mile or the 3 mile, the 3 mile sixer. He's the one that. He's going to be the Irish banker, isn't he? He's the one they're going to latch on to. So maybe you won't get evens.
Yeah, so it's a clean sweep for Monkfish. I do think the Big Breakaway will run well. Obviously, his jumping is a little bit of a worry, but natural ability-wise, don't think the engine is too far below that of Monkfish, but he just doesn't do things as well as Monkfish. But I could certainly see the big breakaway run the big race. But yeah, I think it is Monkfish's race to lose. The feature race on day 2 is the Champion Chase. And will Willie Mullins end his hoodoo? Will he win his first ever Champion Chase with Chacun Pour Soi? There is still a little bit of even money about. It is 7-1 Altior, 8-1 Nuba Negra, 10-1 Politolog, 12-1 Put the Kettle On, 14-1 First Flow, and 20-1 Bar. Now, for some reason, and I don't know why, Chacun Pour Soi seems to divide opinion. There are people who do not believe in Chacun Pour Soi, and they think he could be a bit of a fake, and they think he could get found out. So, Don, I'm going to come to you here first. Chacun Pour Soi, the real deal or a fraud?
I don't think he's a fraud, David. No, he's very good. I suppose the one unknown is Cheltenham. We don't know how he's going to do at Cheltenham. But he's just got such a high cruising speed. It's hard to imagine that he won't come up the hill, or that he will. Like the argument is that just that maybe when they turn for home that he's going to be a weak finisher over the last 2 fences. Yeah, I know he got beaten by A Plus Tard last year over 2 miles 1 at Leopardstown, but that was his first round of the season, and he probably lacked for race fitness, whereas A Plus Tard had race fitness on his side. Yeah, and then because he had the 11th hour scare, well, it wasn't an 11th hour scare, it was an 11th hour withdrawal literally on the morning of the race last year. So you're kind of thinking, oh, he's a bit fragile because he was off for a while before he made his debut for Willie Mullins. But no, I think he's, bar the fact that he hasn't done it at Cheltenham yet, which is a factor, especially when you're dealing with an even money or an odds-on shot. That's the only slight niggle in the back of your head. But look, he's of course he's the right favourite. Altior, he's 11 now. It's very hard for an 11-year-old. Moscow Flyer is the last horse of that ilk to win a Champion Chase. Before him, you have to go back to Skymass. And look, I know like Moscow Flyer was a freak. Altior is a bit of a freak himself, but it's against it. It's not the percentage call. Nuba Negra, like he's going to have to improve again. Like what he did at Kempton, he looked good, but he beat Altior, who just wasn't at his best. I think Put the Kettle On is the one who might be a little bit overpriced. Like she won the Arkle. She's 3 for 3 at Cheltenham over the Champion Chase course and distance, all on the old course, and she wasn't impressive in beating Duke de Genève in the Schlur Chase earlier this season, but that was on softer ground, and Aidan Coleman was just kind of nursing her around the whole way around the outside. I think on better ground over 2 miles, it looks like she's going to go here now as well, instead of to the Mare's Chase, because 2 miles is her trip, not 2.5. And like a Cheltenham 2 miles, it just seems to suit her very well. And she won the Arkle last year. People argue it wasn't that strong an Arkle, but I think Fakir Dudaires is under. And while he made a mistake at the second last fence, she was holding him the whole way to the line. So I just think that she's not a very fashionable horse anymore. People tend to think that she's not that good. She gets the £7 allowance back at Cheltenham on good ground over the course and distance, over which she's proven and so good. I think she could outrun her odds, but yeah, I think Chacun Pour Soi will take a lot of beating.
Interesting there. Chacun Pour Soi for Dom, but in each way shout for Put the Kettle On. Mikey.
Yeah.
Now, there's a chance. I don't know yet, but there's a chance I might need to borrow your stomach for a day. Is that all right? I'll tell you what I did. I did something awful stupid. Right? I do another show, right? And on the show, I said that if Altior won the Champion Chase, I would do the show topless. That I take off my shirt. Now, my stomach wouldn't be the best now. So I might need a loan of your 6-pack one day. Am I going to have to take off my shirt? Is Altior going to win the Champion Chase? Because I give him no chance.
Jennings, I'm worried for you.
Are you?
He's the top. There's only one key point to this race, and that is Altior. If not, Chacun Pour Soi will win. But we just don't know what Nicky Henderson could do with Altior.
But he's slow, Mike. He's gone slow. He's gone awful slow.
Yeah, I know, but still, Nicky done it with Sprinter Sacre, and he's still so far ahead of a few horses in the past that he could run to 160, 2 or 3, and maybe could win it or something, Some horses light up around Cheltenham.
I know.
So, Jennings, get on the no carbs, no bread, potatoes, chips and
nothing.
You know, get
no,
going.
nothing. I just need to get on the letters. That's what I need.
You're all right too.
So you're genuinely giving them a chance, Altior, yeah?
Look, if Altior doesn't win, Cheltenham Poursois will win. Don't worry about Cheltenham. The only thing I'm worried about is Cheltenham Poursois is just unlucky over there.
Yeah.
He didn't make it the first year. Stonebrue's the second year. I just wonder is the horse box,
is it fate?
the horse box going to get hijacked on the way over or something? But, he'll win on the bridle, probably.
A few points there in Mikey's assessment of the Champion Chase. David Mullins, like, I'll be honest, right? You know the way we were working out today, I think there's 11 favourites at the Cheltenham Festival that are 2-1 or shorter, okay? So you have 11 horses. To me, Cheltenham Poursois, out of all of them, is the biggest certainty, because I think the opposition is so poor to Cheltenham Poursois. What do you think, David?
Yeah, as Mikey said there, Nicky Henderson, Sprinter Sacre, you've seen it before. I know Altior's a year older, but this horse was the best horse around. Take out Faheen. I don't think we've seen anything as good since maybe Isterbrack's time.
But there was, I that's a fair point, David, but there was one very, very important word in that sentence, was.
Yeah, but it's hard. You can argue both points. I think that's the reason he's such a price. The reason I think a few people are split decisions or split between liking and not liking Cheltenham Poursois is because he's a hard horse to train. He didn't reach the racetrack for Willie until he was 7. He missed Cheltenham last year with a stone bruise. Obviously a hard horse to get right. So he's obviously not impressive a few of the days he wins. But I think going to Cheltenham, I don't think Willie would be leaving him short. So I think that could have been the problem with a few of his less flashy wins. He is as good as everyone thinks. He's the apple of Paul Townend's eye, that's for sure. Anyway, he loves riding him. Cheltenham will not be a problem. It'll be a benefit to him because he's a small little horse. He's not massive, loads of scope, brilliant to jump, travels, does everything right. So Cheltenham will be ideal for Cheltenham Poursois.
Okay, I'm a bit happier now after that. Diarmuid Nolan, are you taking on Cheltenham Poursois or are you including them in all your multiples?
Kind of neither. I think Cheltenham Poursois could be £8 or £10 clear of everything. Like, I think that probably is the case, but sorry. I just don't like the fact that he hasn't raced at Cheltenham before. So I'm not exactly taking him on, but I'm just having an each way punt against him. Put the kettle on for every reason that Don said. I just don't think she liked Leopardstown last time. She's improved tenfold. Like, if you look at her mare's chase runs before she goes to Cheltenham, like, she's just kicked on absolutely no end at all for just seeing that race course. Aidan Coleman gets on unbelievably well with her. So I think after Cheltenham Poursois, because I can't give Altior a chance either at all. I just can't. I think his pace is gone. Like, I love the horse, but his pace is just gone. So after Cheltenham Poursois, you can throw a blanket over them. And I think Put the Kettle On she might just manage to stay out in front long enough that it's only Cheltenham Poursois who passes her.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so we're kind of behind Cheltenham Poursois so far, Dean. Are you going to tell us that we should definitely be behind Cheltenham Poursois?
No, the doubt is obviously the lack of Cheltenham experience, as has been said. But on terms of what we've seen, he'll win the race. Altior looks to not be the same horse, but it is Nicky Henderson. It is Altior. Everything you ever want. Just go back and watch him dismiss this division for so long. If they can get more run out of him, he'd give Cheltenham Poursois some race. The 2 years between them might be the difference, and that's just timing. But Altior at 7-1, he's a whopping price, and I think he'll run a huge race. Maybe Cheltenham Poursois, being 9 years old, will just have the edge on the 11-year-old. But Altior, I think, will run huge, and 7-1 to me is a bet. So right. Get ready to lift a few weights, Dave. It'll be press ups and sit ups and everything for the next couple of weeks for me. Okay, so that's the Champion Chase. The final Grade 1 on Wednesday is the Weatherby's Champion Bumper, and at the minute, Kilcrut, who has finally learned how to pronounce properly, is 15-8. Sir Gerhard, now a stablemate of Kilcrut, is 2-1, 10-1 Three-Stripe Life. It is 20-1 Let's Be Clear About It, 20-1 Hollow Games, 25-1 S.L.A. Bell, and 25-1 Ramilles
Wonderwall, I like to move it. Rainy Day Woman, Grangy, and it's 33-1 bar. David Mullins, I have to start with you because when I was doing your retirement story, Kilcrut popped up in the conversation and you told me you love this horse.
Yeah, I think he's an absolute airplane. I was riding him out in Willis for a long time. Haven't rode him recently actually, but he's a gorgeous horse and he's so professional and hardy. Maybe that's because he's 6 years of age. That's probably a big thing. But so is Sir Gerhard. The connection I had to both of them was Granny bred Kilcrut, and one of my best friends that passed away bred Sir Gerhard. So now they're in the same camp. I don't know which one I'll be cheering on, but I think Kilcrut because of the swap of stables so close to Cheltenham.
And tell me this, right? You say when I was talking to you, you rode him every morning. You said you haven't sat on him recently. Why would that change? Because he's looked good at Leopardstown, like.
Oh yeah, because Paddy Mullins took him from then.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and tell me this, like, of Willie's original team, was he kind of head and shoulders above everything else?
Yeah, to me anyway, he was. I don't really know. You see so many horses in there. There's about 200 horses there, so you're looking around. You don't know what things are. And there's horses you've never heard of. So, but from the day I rode this lad, he was him and Energy were my two for the season, I thought.
Well, you didn't pick too bad now. They're doing all right. Unbeaten, the two of them. So that is Kilcrut, currently 15-8 favourite. Do you think Paul will ride Kilcrut, David?
He'd be mad not to, yeah, definitely. I think he would.
Okay, that's good enough. Mikey, will you be getting the leg up on Sir Gerhard, maybe?
I might be allowed to lead him around on the Tuesday evening. I don't know. Is the plan to run? I suppose it is it?
I'd imagine so. Yeah, I haven't heard any different anyway.
Yeah. I suppose he's running, and I'd imagine Paul Town will ride him. And he won it last year for Sheveley Park. Sure, didn't Granny breed Kilcrut and Tony sold him? So I could imagine maybe Danny will be doing his best negotiation to be getting on Kilcrut, but I don't know what way it worked. But you have a better idea than me. Like, it's Willie Mullins. It's 10 to 12 job. Like, if for the down the pick, like, you know. So
yeah. Do you like Kilcrut?
Yeah. Do I think he's a good bet in the champion bumper? No.
That's all right.
Race all right. Leopardstown. And it didn't fall apart, but Patrick got it right, and as he would most of the time, and he settled. Like, champion bumper is like it's helter skelter. Some horses don't settle in it, and it's game over. I'd be just worried a little bit if he doesn't settle.
Didn't you almost win the champion bumper one year?
Yeah, Battleford. I was bet
now
a bit of a nose. Yeah, ran a blind.
Do you think you're up?
To be honest, I wasn't really sick because I couldn't believe I actually got that close, Dave. And I never knew I was up. I couldn't believe, like, he was the fifth string, and he ran real well. But no, I walked down the chute, Dave, and I said to myself, God, I'm lucky to have a winner here because I don't think I'll have another chance to close again.
You never know, Mikey. This year you're on the team. You're on the team.
I'll pack the bags anyway after your information tonight.
Yeah, well, I'll be packing. I'll be getting the boxers clean now. I'll be getting five pairs of boxers. You'll be going Monday to Friday.
So in the Hugo Boss boxers for Cheltenham.
No, it's cold. No, we're in a global pandemic, Mikey. There's none of that. Donn McClean, Kilcrut.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's interesting to hear what David's saying about it. Because before the Leopardstown race, there was a bit of a split, wasn't there? There were, like, I think didn't Willie say Ramirez might be the one, and Patrick?
Yeah, Willie wanted Patrick to ride Ramirez, who he still thinks the absolute world of. Would you believe?
And it was a funny race, like as Mikey said there. Like, they went very, very fast, and Gavin Cromwell's horse, let's be clear about it, was up with the pace from early. On strict lines of form, Kilcrut beat, let's be clear about it, by further than Sir Gerhard beat him at Navan. But it was a differently run race, let's be clear about it. It was up with a fast pace from early at Leopardstown, and Kilcrut, look, you can't you can't argue with what Kilcut did at Leopardstown. He looked like a fantastic bumper horse, but I just worry that he might have been a wee bit flattered by the fact that they went so fast and then he looked so good at the end of it. Whereas the Gerhard, he was very good in beating Let's Be Clear About It at Navan. I think he's a big player in the race, and I think Let's Be Clear About It actually could outrun his odds as well. He's a big price, and he didn't have the run of the race the last time. It just wasn't run to suit it. They went fast and he was up with it. So I think he's better than he was able to show the last day at Leopardstown. But no, it's fascinating, and jockey bookings are going to be as interesting as the race itself.
Absolutely, and that's interesting as well. Let's be clear about it. Currently, there is some 20-1 available, so could come into the reckoning from an each way angle. Dean, what do you like in the Weatherby's Champion Bumper?
Yeah, you just have to watch Kilcroot win the last day, and if you take that as it looked, I think this is pretty much an airplane. But like it's not.
It was like an optical illusion, wasn't it? You know, when the
camera
angle changed, and you were going, God, am I seeing things here? Because he was doing a half speed, and they were all hard at it, like.
Yeah, and it was breathtaking, and obviously they've thought a lot of it, but Willie's going to have a few in here, and any one of them. But this is a race for unexposed horses, right? That's what it is. That's what you're going to get. So whether you take a short price about one of them against a bunch of other ones, it's not for me. I won't be doing that. You shouldn't probably ask an Englishman what he thinks of the bumper, to be honest. We haven't got much in there. And Dan Skelton's Ella Bell, who won that. You remember that photo finish in the fog when I think they just decided they couldn't see who won. But Ella Bell is a nice type, I think, for Dan, and probably around 20-1. If I have to have a bet in it, I'll be playing that each way. But everything above it's Irish, and I'd imagine they'll have the 1, 2, 3. Ella Bell do the best of the rest, though.
Well, you're half Irish, Dean.
A bit of me, yeah, plastic enough, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What way are we pronouncing it? L.A. Bell for Dean Ryan. 25-1 a mare, and mares, of course, have a pretty good record in the Champion Bumper of late.
Take any advantage you can get. That'll help.
Absolutely. Fayonne, I think, was the last mare to win it, I think. Diarmuid, the Weatherby's Champion Bumper. First of all, right, don't tell us, but have you a strong opinion?
I have absolutely no opinion. The last Champion Bumper winner I backed was Silver Concord. It's a race I don't do well in, so I leave it now.
That wasn't today or yesterday.
What was that?
That wasn't today or yesterday.
It most certainly wasn't, yeah. So you learn that there's some races not for you. This isn't one.
That's fair enough. Can't argue about that. So there you go. That is the grade ones on Wednesday. All we need now is your best bet for Wednesday, lads. Dean Ryan, your best bet on day 2 of the 2021 Festival.
Yeah, it could possibly be the best race of that whole day. Is the Ballymore, and I'm going to go with Bob Ollinger to come out home in front of Brave Man Game and Gala de Menil. So Bob Ollinger, I think, could be very good.
Okay, I have a feeling there's going to be a trend here, because I have a feeling Diarmuid Nolan is also going to go for the Ballymore.
I am, and Gaillard de Menil.
So Gaillard de Menil for Diarmuid Nolan. Donn McClean, your best bet on Wednesday?
Bob Ollinger, he's short enough now, but I think he's the most likely winner of Ballymore.
Okay. Mikey Fogarty, your best bet on the Wednesday?
Bob Ollinger all the way.
Lovely. Jesus. The Ballymore is getting a good doing over here. David Mullins, your best bet on day 2?
I agree with Bob Ollinger, but I'm not going to be that boring, and I'm going to go for Hollow Games each way in the bumper.
Oh, that's interesting. Were you going to say something there, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with that. I like him. Yep. I'm agreeing with David.
Who trains him, Mikey?
Sneezy Foster.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Apparently, he wasn't working well on Gordon's Gallop, so they brought him up to Sneezy's, and he goes better on that.
Yeah, Hollow Games. Actually, he was very unlucky, or she was very unlucky the last day. I thought Hollow Games very unlucky. Well, my best bet on the Wednesday is in the Grand Annual, and of course, called. It's one of these ones now that people are going to groan when I give you the name. Okay, but I think Tukas is going to win the Grand Annual. I just think he's got the experience now. And I know he's only 8-1, he's single figure price, but Tukas in the Grand Annual for Joseph O'Brien, JP McManus, and probably Mark Walsh is my best bet on the Wednesday of the Cheltenham Festival. That's 2 days done, lads. We're halfway there. Stay tuned for day 3. So, folks, moving on to day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival, and it kicks off on the Thursday with the Marsh Novices Chase. And at the moment, Envoy LN, now trained by Henry de Bromhead, is the 5-6 favourite. Mean still in some lists at 7-2, but it looks like he's going to go for the Arkle. 7-1 Monkfish. It looks like he's going to go for the Brown Advisory Novice Chase. 8-1 Chamblue. We think he's going to turn up here. There's 10-1 Chantry House, 14-1 Sporting John, 14-1 Chatham Street Bad, and 20-1 Bar. Only one place to start. Only one place to start, lads. That is David Mullins. So this is the man who told us we can't back Ballyadam now for the Supreme because he's gone from Gordon Elliott to Henry de Bromhead. So how important is NVLN, who Keith Donoghue told me he wears special boots when he rides out. He has his own little quirks, he has his own little routines. How important is it for those that have got stuck into NVLN at short odds for the Marsh, David? How important and how much of a negative is it that he's moved to Henry de Bromhead?
Won't be any negatives at all to this lad. No. No, I think
you're getting on to me.
I think there's a few lads now that drive sulkies up the long mile or the long acre on the side of the road to get his dad to win in Cheltenham.
He's that far clear of them, is he?
100%, yeah.
Lovely. You're back eating anyway.
Oh, I was starving. They're all gone though. They're all gone. Don't worry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. Munch away there.
I'd say, David, you'll hit the hairdressers when they're back, David, will you?
No, is there something wrong with my hair?
Your head's a little bit lopsided, like that.
I have a bad back, Mike.
All right. Yeah, the hair wouldn't help now.
It's been a while since you got a cut yourself, Mike.
No, a friend of mine done it about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've had the same hair since I was about 7. It's just the same all the time. 2 at the back and sides and a cut on top every time. I really should change it sometime. Anyway.
Whatever.
And on that note, Mikey, little segue, is NVLN a cut above?
Oh.
Yes. I like the way you done that. You must have learned that back in the racing post with Johnny Mullen and Johnny Ward all those years.
All those cheesy folks, yeah, we did, yeah. Go on, tell me, NVLN, how good is he?
NVLN win this by about 7 lengths. Yeah.
Do you know what was funny there? When you started that sentence, I was going, this is going to be some preview night, but he's going to win from Cheltenham to Wetherby or something. And then you actually gave a pretty decent answer. Like
David is right. The boys that have the sulkies on that Clonmel motorway would win with this fella. And for anyone that's wanting a good song to perk them up in the lockdown, that Sulky Racer song is not too bad.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a bit lost here, but I'll try and listen sometime.
Any person worth their salt, like NVLN is sort, you know.
Start.
For
okay.
the people, yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm hoping somebody is you know, has a few kind of questions for NVLN. Diarmuid Nolan, are you completely sold on him? Is he the real deal? Is he like this absolute superstar, or is there something that's just in the back of your mind that you're thinking, oh, maybe not?
No, I love him. I love the fact that he keeps so much back. That means he will have this horse for a long time. Like, he was laughing at Field de Derry, but there's just no point in him putting him away that far. You know, he put away easy work last season in the Ballymore easily, and he was dosing halfway up the run in there. You know, Dave had to wake him up, come up to 2 out. And no, I think NVLN is just a superstar. Him against Monkfish next season is going to be some race.
Oh, holy God. Wouldn't it be great, lads, if we were back here? Well, we won't be back here. We'll be somewhere. We'll be in a pub or doing something, or, you know, but if we were previewing
the goat.
Back in the GOAT, and we were previewing the Gold Cup, and Monkfish was 7-4 and NVLN was 9-4. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We'll be in a home after back in Abercrombie. That's what we'll be.
Brilliant.
I will admit, David, that he won't run in the Gold Cup anyway.
No. They probably have a fair point for him to run in that as well.
I really hope he wins though. Oh my
God! No, Tom.
No, fair bet. I'm only trying to spice it up.
Dean.
Yeah.
NVLN. Good thing.
Yeah, of course he is. He's miles clear. I do think there's a bet if you don't want to go taking odds on shots.
Lovely. That's exactly. Now I wanted to know: is there a bet in this race? So go on.
Yeah,
what is it?
I think there is. You have to take Envoy Allen out of the equation though, and Chamblou is just a wonderful jumper of fence. I really like this 7-year-old. I think Skelton's done a good job with him. They're going to take him on, fair play, because the rest of them probably won't. As we know, they've all got other targets. Chamblou I'd probably take it without. I think it's 7-2 chance without, and I think that's rock solid. I think he'd be second. He could be a long way second, but I think he'd be second, and I think he'd run a big race. So if you have to have a bet in the race, if you don't want to take on the odds on shot, Chamblou.
Okay, Chamblou for Dean Ryan. He's a brilliant jumper anyway. Donn McClean, Envoy LN.
Interesting. Before that, David, is that how you bet in the Gold Cup next year? 7-4, Envoy LN, 9-4, Monkfish.
Well, I have to say now, it was a spur of the moment decision that I didn't think I'd be doing. Was that all right?
Oh, I think it's close enough. Yeah, if all things go as we expect them to go between now and then.
Yeah. Who's like, this is obviously like ridiculous talk, but just say if all that good stuff did happen and they're both unbeaten and they both win the race at Cheltenham this year, do you think Monkfish is more likely to be a Gold Cup winner than Envoy LN?
No, I think they're both as likely as each other, really. Envoy LN, he shapes like a Gold Cup horse. I suppose he shapes like he could do anything, but yeah, Gold Cup is his race, isn't it? Next year, please God, all going well.
Mm-hmm. Is he good? Is he a good thing here?
Yeah. Like there's a, he does all he needs to do, and when he needs to battle, he can battle as well. Like he had to battle in the Champion Bumper, and he won it. And there's a symmetry to his career as well, isn't it? So 4 bumpers, Jamie Codd rode him on all 4, won all 4. 4 hurdle races, Davy Russell rode him on all 4, won all 4. This will be his 4th chase. Jack Kennedy's ridden him on all 4, probably win all 4. 12 for 12 plus a point of Barry O'Neill. Look, he's a wonderful horse. But from a betting perspective, as Dean says, you take him out of the race. I think Fusil Raffles, I think he could be the one who could chase him home. He's a big price. I just think he's an underrated horse. He was priced up or regarded on soft ground earlier in the season over 2 miles, 2.5 miles on good ground. That's his thing. He's got good Cheltenham Festival form as well. So I think he could be the one I'm sure there'll be a lot of the time in a without market, you don't have a lot of bookmakers betting on it. So it's not as competitive a market, the without market, compared to the win market. This one, everybody will be betting without Envoy LN, so you have an option there. So I think Fusil Raffles might be interested in that market. Yeah,
good shout there for Fusil Raffles, course winner at Cheltenham, of course, as well, for Donn McClean. And that was nice, Dom. I like that symmetry analogy there. It was very good.
There you go.
Yeah, very good. So obviously we're all in the Envoy LN camp. Moving on to the Ryanair Chase now, lads. Right, Mikey, concentrate now. Right.
Before you move on, Envoy Allen's with Henry de Bromhead now. If Envoy Allen gets beat next year in Down Royal, presumably goes there in the 3 mile grade 1 after winning it all around him this year, and gets beaten, maybe he doesn't get 3 mile. I'd say he could do worse things now than having a few quid on Envoy Allen for the Champion Chase. Henry de Bromhead's a 2 miler.
That's a
Sorry, not Henry de Bromhead's a 2 miler. Henry de Bromhead.
We got you. Yeah.
Henry de Bromhead is very good at training 2 milers. If he got beat, if he doesn't stay, has he ran over 3 mile yet? Question's still there. Unbeaten horses, how long do they stay unbeaten for National Hunt Games? I don't think it's as finely cut as you think.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty valid, I have to say now. Envoy LN, maybe your 2022 Champion Chase winner, according to David Mullins. So moving on to Ryanair Chase now, lads, you're going to have to do a bit of work here now, lads, right? Mikey Fogarty, David Mullins. I'm going to put you on the spot here now, right? Now, Mikey, concentrate, right? Mikey, you're right now, right? Concentrate, right? I want the 2 of you to answer this question honestly, okay? Allaho, Min, Mellon, okay? It looks like the 3 of them are going to run, right? I want David Mullins and Mikey Fogarty to tell me who is going to ride those 3 horses, okay? So, Mikey, you're going to go first. Who rides Allaho, who rides Min, and who rides Mellon? In your opinion, obviously we don't know the answer, but in your opinion, who will ride those 3 horses? That's a tricky one now. You didn't want that one thrown at you, I'd say.
No, I don't mind. I think Paul Town will ride Min. Toss up between Rachel, maybe, or Cooper for Allaho, and Danny Mullins will ride Mellon. Yeah.
Right. Okay, David?
I'd agree with that, yeah.
So you think Paul Townend will ride Min and not Allaho?
To be honest, Min's done it. The other two have to prove to me that they can.
Okay.
And I imagine Paul Town will think that. They're not odds on. They're not very short.
Yeah.
I think he'll be in two minds, and he'll pick the one that's done it for him.
Okay, so both of you think Paul will ride Min, Danny will ride Mellon, and then you think it's between the fella there sitting beside you for Allaho and Rachel Blackmore.
No, he's downstairs.
Oh, he's dead. No, I mean he's beside Mikey.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't give the game away.
Yeah.
So of those three, David, if you had the choice and you commit a retirement, which could happen sometime, which one would you ride?
Well, I don't know.
Hey, Cooper's beside me. He went, the best leper.
That's how I rode some amount of winners for Jigginstown back in the day.
Well, I think the best jumper is definitely Mellon.
Oh, he's
Would you have said that? Definitely, yeah.
Oh, Mellon is that performance in last year's Marsh Chase is the best jumping performance I think I've ever seen around Cheltenham.
Yeah, I actually probably would go for Mellon, I think, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Mikey?
Allaho.
Oh.
Allaho, who's currently 5-1 favourite. Right, that's the Willie Mullins camp. I think I'm more confused now than I was when I asked the question, but with 2 votes for Paul to ride Min, that's interesting. Diarmuid, have you found the winner of the Ryanair Chase?
Yeah, maybe, but I'm a big fan of Mellon. I know Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. He just seems to always bump into one, but they've figured out how to ride him now. Like, that was a serious performance last year. Just so unlucky against Samcro. That jump 2 out was just kind of maybe what cost Mellon in the end. That run of Christmas was brilliant. I thought he sulked behind Kemboy when he just wasn't allowed to go off in front. I think those tactics weren't correct in him. At Cheltenham, back over 2.5 miles, we know he stays a little bit further than that too. We know he likes the course because obviously he ran it last year. I think he takes an awful lot of stopping here, an awful lot. I know Allaho. I've never really rated Allaho his whole career. I think he's tripless. I think Allaho he's stuck somewhere between 2.5 miles and 3 miles. I don't think he's fully. We know yet. I love being backed him last year. But just that last run, I know he's old enough, he'd more than likely get over, but that just leaves a nagging doubt in my head. St. Calvados and Imperial Aura, they're both coming in into this off falls, and I'm not sure about their form. I mean, Imperial Aura beat Itchy Feet last time. He was beaten in the Rendlesham. So I just think Mellon is very solid. And as far as going from the front, has worked well in this race before with Matt Fuel and kind of horses like that, or Matt Fluel, however you say her name again. But I think it will take a lot of. I think Mellon is angling up to be quite a decent bet here, and I think he really deserves to get that festival win, really, doesn't he?
Okay, so it's Mellon for Diarmuid Nolan. Dean Ryan?
Yeah, I wouldn't put anyone off Mellon's going to run a big race for sure. I like the English chances with Kim Bailey's horse Imperial Aura. I just thought it was so good beating Galvin last year. In fact, he idles towards the line, and we all know what Galvin's gone and done since. The form this season, I think, is good. It's unfortunate, obviously, it took an unseat in the run up to the festival because you'd like to come with finishing a race. I think if he had to finish that, it'd be shorter. 30-2 would do me with Imperial Aura. I think there's plenty of upside, and the rest of them they've kind of been there and not quite done it. So Imperial Aura, I think, will take a good step forward, and might be one of the races the English win. They won't win too many, but I think they'll nick this one.
Well, you know what, Dean? I think they'll win it as well. But you know what I think they'll win it with?
Which?
Mr. Fisher.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Mr. Fisher is obviously one of my many cliff horses in training, but I've thought for the last 3 years that Mr. Fisher is an absolute, in time, when he fills out into his frame, when he grows up, when he becomes a man, I said this horse is a Ryanair winner. And Nicky has won the Ryanair so many times with, Ballymore, he's won it with Riverside Theatre. And I just think Mr. Fisher, if you watched the Marsh last year, I thought he was the one that I watched the race and I said, this time next year, he could be the best of these. He could be better than Mellon. He could be better than Samcro. He could be better than Faheen. And he gave £3 to Kalashnikov in the Peterborough Chase. He got into a good rhythm. He jumped better. Good ground is going to suit him. He's only 8-1 now. The value is gone, but I genuinely think Mr. Fisher has got a super chance. Don, what do you like in the Ryanair?
I think this is a hell of a race. I mean, it's so competitive. Everyone, you can make cases for lots of, like, Mellon's finished second in 4 Cheltenham Festivals. He's finished second in 2 Champion Hurdles and Supreme Novices, and then last year. So, as Stuart said, if there's a horse in the race that deserves a Cheltenham Festival win, it's him. And Min got his last year after finish. I think he was second at 2 Cheltenham Festivals. And yeah, like, ridden aggressively over 2.5 miles, that's his thing, isn't it? Because ridden aggressively over 3 miles 2 runs ago, he just didn't get home, and he still ran a hell of a race. Ridden conservatively last time over 3 miles, it didn't work. So drop him in trip and kick him on. And I think the same goes for Allaho. I do think 2.5 is his distance. I know that he won over 3 miles over hurdles. He beat Minella Indo at Clonmel, and I think it was a grade 3. But again, he didn't get home in the Savills Chase at Leopardstown over Christmas. Back over 2.5 in the Kinloch Braid Chase last time, and again ridden aggressively. He beat Ellie May, who then enhanced the form since, albeit, you know, she was expected to win and she should have been winning like she did, but she was good in winning. So I think Allaho's solid as well. I can see the case for him. Like Imperial Aura, he was the fashionable horse at the start of the season, and then because I don't know why, just because he unseated last time early on against Master Tommy Tucker, suddenly he's gone out of favour. He's gone a wee bit off the radar, but he's a player as well. And I know, David, you're sweet and Mr. Fisher and have been for a while. But I actually like Fakir Dudaris. I think he was a big price earlier in the season. He finished second in an Arkle. He won the Drinmore Chase last year, albeit he was or 2 seasons ago, he was last year a 4 or 5-year-old. Then he was getting weight in the early part of the year, and then he wasn't getting it later on. But I thought his run in the Arkle last year was a very good run. I think in general the Arkle form from last season has been underplayed a little bit, and this season he was beaten by Notebook on his first run back. Then in the Savills Chase, he's got a P in front of him. He was pulled up, but he actually ran very well for a long way that day, and he travelled up through the field with Absolute Tard, and then his stamina ran out, whereas Absolute Tard's stamina kicked in. And then last time, over 2 miles or 2 miles and a furlong, he just shaped as if he would improve for stepping back up and trip. And I think Joseph O'Brien has been saying for a while that 2.5 miles was a trip. Definitely when he was running over 2 miles, he was wanting to step him up and trip, and he didn't get 3 miles 2 runs ago. So 2.5 is probably his trip. And back at Cheltenham, he ran so well in the Arkle last year, and he's run well over hurdles there as well in the past. I think he's a bit under the radar. There's not much talk about him, and I don't think it's been fully confirmed that this is his target, but it's a logical target for him. I'd be surprised if he didn't run here. And yeah, he's the one for me at the prices.
You know what price he is, Dan? What price do you say he is now?
Probably about 10-1, is he?
He's only 8-1 best price.
Yeah, really? There you go.
I'd say you've got bigger, have you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, fair enough. I won't ask you to reveal. Okay, that's it.
I've got plenty of big prices about horses that have no chance or aren't running, David. That's the
It evens itself out, doesn't it?
It does even itself out, yeah.
Absolutely. So that is the Ryanair Chase, which is the second grade one on the Thursday, and the official feature race of the day, the championship race, is the Stayers Hurdle. And what a cracker we have in store this year. Currently, our 130 joint favourites are Thyme Hill and Paisley Park, 8-1 Sire de Burley, 12-1 Roxana, 14-1 The Storyteller, Floating Porter, and 16-1 last year's winner, Lisnagar Oscar, 20-1 Hemboy, who could go here. Obviously, your Irish Gold Cup winner, Kemboy. David, do we know if Kemboy is going to run here? And do you think he should? And if he does, do you think he could win?
I think Kemboy has a better chance of winning the Stayers Hurdle than he does the Gold Cup. Cheltenham's not a place for him, I think he needs a flat track. I just think the hustle and bustle of Cheltenham and not getting an easy lead. He's a small horse. He's just not a Gold Cup horse. And he's a very good horse on his day around the right track. But I can't see him ever win the Gold Cup. So it's probably a good call from Willie to suggest it. Anyway, I don't know whether he runs in it or not, but I'd fancy him more in the Stayers Hurdle than I would a Gold Cup.
Is there, sorry, 1 second, David. Is there anything in it, just David Mullins, anything in this year that there won't be the same razzmatazz about Cheltenham that there is every other year? Like, is that going to be a factor, do you think, for horses who don't handle Cheltenham, or do you think specifically with Kemboy it's just the track that he doesn't handle?
No, it's just the track. None of Willys seem to have that problem in Cheltenham. I know Wicklow Brave used to a small bit, but then in his older years, it actually worked out better for me. He travelled a lot and he enjoyed travelling. But it's something Willys able to do with horses. You know, there's only 4 lots a day in Willys, so that's probably 50 horses on a lot, on average maybe, or whatever it is. So they're all used to lots of horses around them. They walk around for about an hour outside. So all they know is walk and walk and walk and gallop and gallop and gallop.
Good question, though.
I thought so.
Very, very valid question. Very valid question, I have to say. David, what do you actually fancy in the Stayers Hurdle?
I'm going to have to go Time Hill. I know he's beaten the last day by Paisley Park, but there's just something telling me there's more left in him. He was a novice last year, was cracking run in the Albert Bartlett, but I just really like the horse, and I've gone off Paisley Park. That's the simple reason.
Okay, so 1 vote for Time Hill from David Mullins. Diarmuid Nolan, is this a 2-horse race between Time Hill and Paisley Park?
I think it could be. My one concern with Paisley Park is how often can a horse continue to go to that maximum well and keep coming back, you know, as in he's a legend of a horse, but he takes himself to the edge of it every single time. And I thought the last day anyway, I thought Dickie Johnson went a bit too soon. I think he said so himself afterwards. So I think Time Hill, I think he wins, really. I think he takes an awful lot of stopping. One horse that could come from the back. I mean, if you like Sire de Burley, I think you have to like the Storyteller. I don't think there was a whole lot between them last year. I know there was a small bit of weight and concession, but I thought the Storyteller was unlucky in that pretense last year.
Did you? Why?
Yeah, I did. I thought that it's just a running theory of mine. I thought Barry Geraghty had, not that David Russell did anything wrong. He's a master of his trade, but I thought Barry Geraghty had Sire de Burley off the bridle at the perfect time, finishing the second last. The Sire de Burley hit his full steam. And I thought that the Storyteller remained in the bridle long enough that it took him those few strides to properly get going. And I thought that he was then trying to catch smoke in a way that Sire de Burley was at full steam and was gone. The Storyteller, whenever you see Keith O'Neill riding him this year, Keith's properly getting at him nearly from 2 out. You know, like I could be way off here, but just. Well,
do you know what's funny? The only reason I asked the question is I had backed the Storyteller for the Thames final at a big prize last year, and obviously when you get beaten and you're just beaten, like you're obviously gutted. But I thought Davy Russell's ride on the Storyteller was glorious. I was beaten and I said he's done everything right here. The horse has travelled, the horse has jumped, everything is perfect, and he was beaten and in receipt of £3 from Sire de Burley. So I don't see how he beats him.
Yeah, I'm not specifically saying that Davy did anything wrong on the day. I just thought Barry Geraghty got 120% of it right, let's say. And just that, I think a horse like the Storyteller, like I think it kind of reminded me, and this is really going off topic, but can you remember when Early Doors beat Dallas They Picked On? I thought Dallas They Picked On
Remember well, John Joe Neal Jr.
Yeah, and I thought John Joe Neal Jr. had Early Doors at full steam, and Dallas They Picked On was on the bridle. And when he kind of, when you try to pick up a horse like stuff, I'm not a jockey, so obviously the lads will correct me, but I think it takes a horse.
Unfortunately, we have no jockeys on the panel tonight.
I think it might take a 3 miler, those few extra strides to come off the bridle and hit top steam than it would, let's say, the horse that David Mullins loves, Abracadabras. So, you know, like it could just take a few, and I don't think there's much between the Storyteller and Sire de Burley at all.
Okay, but your strongest choice in the race is Time Hill.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so 2 votes for Time Hill. Dean Ryan.
I think he's a certainty. I think Time Hill will take all the beating here. I think he's a cracking price too. Thanks for, you know, Paisley Park's got an army of supporters and he's been a super servant. Time Hill, I think, just got mugged the last day, and if anything could carry him a little bit deeper into the race, he would have won. And I think he'll get that here. I think there'll be a bit more cover. It's a bigger field. He'll have a bit more to work with. Dickie just a little bit unlucky, I thought, last year in the Albert Bartlett, and you know, the race just didn't pan out as he wanted. He's travelling so well, and to me, still probably should have won the race. The right 2 from that Albert Bartlett, Monkfish, was still pretty much a shell and still got it done. And we've seen what that's done this year. It was just a great race. I think Time Hill's come forward loads, and I think there's more to come. He's 100-30 joint favourite. He should be favourite. I think he'll take a world of beating.
And Dean, you don't, now in fairness to you, you're quite relaxed and balanced and you don't get carried away too often. So I kind of take note when you do get carried away. And this is like you're not holding back there now.
No, I'd go as far as say it's a certainty. Yeah.
DJ doesn't listen much to the race hour if he thinks that anyway.
Sir, excuse me. I'm a weekly listener.
You are, yeah.
I am.
Yeah, look, we've been big on Time Hill on the podcast. I've been big on him since Hobbsy said they were going to give fences a miss this season. I thought this is the right race. He's got him there, and hopefully in A1 condition to take all the beat.
Right, Mikey is watching Meghan Markle and Prince Harry being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey. So we'll come to you last, Mikey. You can watch away there. Don, what wins the Stayers Hurdle?
I thought Fury Road until there was there seemed to be a bit of a mixed message from the camp as whether he's going or not. Well, he's not going. Do you think he's not going?
Well, I was in Navan when he was beaten by Beacon Edge, and Gordon said that, well, I know he doesn't train the horse now, but he said that, no, we're going to go to the Healing Strawberry race at Fairy House, Grade 2. And then I was talking to Eddie O'Leary the next day, and
he said he might go.
He said, "Oh, I don't know, that's a bit premature now. You know, I think he's gradually getting there. He was sick at Christmas, and so God only knows, and I don't even know if God does know."
So Fury Road beat Time Hill in the Albert Bartlett last year, and Time Hill's a 3-1 shot, and Fury Road's a 16-1 shot. That doesn't make much sense to me. I know he hasn't had the season that Time Hill has had, but actually, like the race that he ran, the Christmas Hurdle, that was at Christmas time, and none of Gordon.
The Christmas Hurdle was at Christmas time, yeah.
There you go. But it's over 3 miles in Ireland as opposed to 2 miles in England.
Yes.
And then I thought the run in the Boyle Hurdle was actually quite a good run. There was nothing between him and Beacon Edge. And if you take it that he's coming back, and I thought that was after the race, I thought it was a good stepping stone to the Stayers Hurdle. So I was surprised. Yeah, I think it was your column that I read afterwards that said Gordon said he wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
I was surprised at that because they kept him over hurdles this year when you would have thought Jigginstown House, Gordon Elliott, one season, staying novice hurdler, third in an Albert Bartlett hurdle, go over fences. He's a staying chaser, and he is. So the fact that they kept him over hurdles, obviously, to me, suggested that they thought there was more to do over hurdles. And maybe they had a look at the novice chasers going novice chasing this year, and they thought, well, this is a fair crop of novice chasers. But I'm sure that's the same at the start of every year. You look at any crop of novice chasers and you go, this is a hell of a really exciting crop of novice chasers. So I think Fury Road, if he goes, I think he's the value of the race. If the ground was soft, I wouldn't discount last year's winner, Lisnagar Oscar. I thought he ran very well at Haydock last time, his first run back after a wind operation. And if the ground is better, Deal Care. He gave Sam's Profile a big scare in the Galmoy hurdle, and no need said afterwards that he'd come on for it. He stays well. He'd be much better and better ground and off a faster pace. So he's 20-25 to 1. He's interesting at a bit of a price. Florian Porter. It's hard to know what to do with him because I'm not sure he stole the race the last day as a lot of people thought. I just think he's an improving stayer. Like, he's only 6 and he's just going the right way. And when he won the handicap at Navan, people thought he stole the race, but he won it so well. And then he did the same at Leopardstown under a superb ride from Jonathan Moore, I thought. But he just could be a lurker. I just don't think it's as cut and dried as, are you a Paisley Park or Time Hill fan? I think there's more to the race than that. Okay, that's interesting. A few longer price ones from Donn McClean. Right, Mikey, you've had plenty of time to seize up this Stayers Hurdle. What do you like?
I agree with all the lads. I agree with Don there and Dean. But out of pure respect and lack of knowledge from my behalf of Paisley Park, was it 2 years ago was my debut when I got off a flight from Australia. I didn't know who Paisley Park was. It your preview?
Yeah,
that's right. I remember it well.
I genuinely didn't know who Paisley Park was, and I barely knew Emily Lavelle and
Emily Lavelle.
Sorry, you know what I meant there now. Out of respect for them, and they've done a great job with the horse. So Paisley Park for me is getting a nod, because ever since that, and like a couple of random lads have said to me, you didn't know Paisley Park, and I was like, no. So I followed the horse since, and he's obviously a very good horse. So I'm just going to give him a sporting charitable nod for me in a race that I wouldn't really be too keen on having a bet in.
Lovely stuff. So Paisley Park for Mikey Fogarty and Emily Lavelle. Best bet on Thursday, boys. Best bet on Thursday. Dean Ryan.
Yeah, the nap of the week, Time Hill.
Time Hill. Okay. Diarmuid Nolan.
Melon.
Donn McClean.
Look, here did Aries in the Ryanair.
Oh. Mikey Fogarty.
Asher, I'd have to give Emily Lavelle to win the World Hurdle.
And David Mullins.
Mine is Franco Laporte if he runs in the Marsh each way.
He doesn't.
Okay.
He runs in the Arkle.
Definitely.
I know. I just heard. Do you want 50 euro on it?
No, you're all right. Agree. No, Time Hill is up.
Time Hill. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, Thursday is make or break day for me. Okay, because almost every horse I fancy strongly at the Cheltenham Festival runs on Thursday. So I'll just give you a quick run then. My banker of the entire week runs in the Pertemps final, and it's a horse called Imperial Alcazar, who I think is really well handicapped off mark 147. I know qualifier winners have a poor record in the Pertemps final, but this fella is different. And I thought he won really easily at Warwick. He went up £8. I think he's much better than that. In the Kim Muir, I like a horse called Dacia Abba for Philip Hobbs, who finished 5th in the race last year, runs off the same mark of 142 this year. And I just love, I don't know what you think, lads, I love horses that run in a race one year and come back for the same race the next year. Bit of experience, know what it's all about, know the hustle and bustle, know what's required. And to me, Dacia Abba has a massive chance in the Kim Muir. I like Hook Up for Willie in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. And in the Paddy Power Plate, I like a horse called Conflated for Gord Sneezy Foster in the Paddy Power Plate. So that's Thursday wrapped up. Moving on to Friday and the first race. What a race. Like usually, you know, Patrick Mullins has this famous thing where he goes, now the Triumph Hurdle, we go for a cup of tea now, I won't bother watching it, blah, blah. But this year's Triumph Hurdle looks an absolute belter. Zanahiyr v Tritonic. Currently, can't split them. They're around 9-4, 5-2 joint favourites. 6-1 Calictios, 12-1 Adagio, 20-1 Duffel Coat, 20-1 Tihupu, and 33-1 Bar. Right, boys. This is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this. Of all the races we're previewing, this is the one I'm always looking forward to because this race has divided people in the last week. So I'm going to start with Diarmuid. Diarmuid, Tritonic or Zanahiyr?
Zanahiyr all day long. Like, I respect what Tritonic did last time, but jumping didn't blow me away. Now, the one thing about that is that obviously they only jumped 2 in the last 7 furlongs, don't they? So if Tritonic's there, he's there. Like, he'd be fine. But I'm not mad about the horses he beat that day. The horse in third had never ran before. He was an ex-Jim Bolger horse. And yeah, I'm not cracked about him at all. Not cracked is the wrong phrase. I like the horse a lot. But, like, I think this market is an advertisement for recency bias. Like what Zanahiyr did at Fairyhouse.
I agree.
Yeah, like what Zanahiyr did at Fairyhouse was freakish. And then he went and did a completely different task at Christmas when he had to do it off a slow pace and toughed it out. He's done it all. And like just because we haven't seen him for a while, people are now moving on to Tritonic. And they're trying to get a favourite beaten, as Don alluded to earlier. You like the bigger price, but then when they're short, you kind of want to get them beaten. But like Zanahiyr for me is a horse that will be in the first 3 in the market for the Champion Hurdle next year. This horse is not just a juvenile. I think he's very special. And I think Zanahiyr takes an absolute world of stopping here.
That man talks sense. Donn McClean, Zanahiyr. Are you a Zanahiyr man?
Yeah, I'm a big Zanahiyr fan.
Lovely. We're on a roll here. We're on a roll.
Yeah, look, exactly what Diarmuid said. Like the sectionals that he clocked at Fairyhouse were really impressive. He beat sent Sam out of the park, and St. Sam probably hasn't turned out to be the horse that we suspected he was at the time. Like he was an odds-on shot to beat Zanahiyr, but he didn't have the run of the race on either occasion next time behind Zanahiyr and then behind Calictios. But look, St. Sam, we're kind of getting to know his level, but Zanahiyr beat him out of sight. And then during the race, the race has been run. Watching it live, you're thinking, look, they're not going a great pace here. And Zanahiyr was so good off a fast pace the last day, he might be vulnerable, but he showed that turn of foot. And he was very good. And yeah, look, and I think Gordon Elliott said afterwards that he was going straight to Cheltenham. So it's not a case of a missed target. It's just a case he's going straight from Christmas to Cheltenham. But I think the value of the race is Calictios. I think he's a bit underrated. And because Zanahiyr was always the stable's number 1, and even I think Gordon Elliott even said that, maybe Calictios could go for the Fred Winter instead in a handicap, which to me, I think is a bit underrated. And because Zanahiyr was always the stable's number 1, and even I think Gordon Elliott even said that maybe Calictios could go for the Fred Winter instead in a handicap, which to me, I think is a bit underrated. it was only because he was in the same yard. He's not in the same yard anymore. He's with Henry de Bromhead now, so we're back to David's changing of yards scenario. But I just think, like, he's a spring juvenile hurdle winner. He clocked a good time in winning the spring hurdle as well. He was impressive in beating San Sam, and that was his first run since he won at Down Royal back in October. So there's every chance he'll come on from this. The spring hurdle is like, it should be a good pointer to the Triumph Hurdle, but it is. And okay, it's not necessarily the winner who goes on and runs best or wins a Triumph Hurdle, but just thought Calixius was so good in winning that day, and he was so good the time before at Down Royal. He's a horse who's, I think his price has been inflated because he was Zanahir's stable companion, and he was the number 2 in the yard for the race. So I just think he's too big a price.
Okay, that's Calixios for Donn McClean. David Mullins, we have to come to you next, right? So Ballyadam, big worry. Changing stables, big worry. Envoy Allen, changing stables, don't worry. Where are we with Calixios? Do we worry or do we not worry?
You worry because he's not the same price as Envoy Allen. I don't know. I fancy Franchise. I'm only after learning today that he's not a runner. I don't know where I am on this race. I don't know. They'll be running in the Pertemps in 2 or 3 years' time.
Whoa! Not this one, Dave. Usually I'd say not this one.
I hated Goshen last year, like nothing about him. Tipped up the winner. What's her name?
Come on, now you can't claim that as a winner. Burning Victory.
I swear to God, I done a preview in where was it, in Dundalk for another better place.
Better.
Obviously.
Better.
Yeah, I forget who I done it for, but I couldn't have Goshen, and I can't have any of these.
Well, I don't know now, Dave. Obviously, we don't know what would have happened, but the likelihood is that Goshen probably would have won.
Yeah, but I didn't like him. I didn't like his attitude. I didn't like the way he jumped right. But I don't know. These horses this year look straightforward enough. There's no runaway winner. There's no runaway horse that's winning. They're all doing it normal. So listen, take your pick. I don't know, Zana here. I gave St. Sam a bit of a stones that day in Leopardstown. He didn't settle. We went too
I didn't want to say it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it worked out. But,
Is he a good horse, David?
St. Sam. Yeah, he's a good horse. He's a good horse. Yeah.
Like he's better than, like, he's 136 in Ireland. He's 139 in England. He's better than that.
Yeah, he's a solid 140, 145 horse, I'd say, and that should be good enough to win. That should be good enough to win a Triumph. To me, I think it's a terrible race normally. Yeah,
I think this year could be a bit above average. Well, I tell you what I think. I think Zana here at 5-2 is the best value favourite at the Cheltenham Festival. I do not understand why this horse is bigger than 6-4. I think he's got a cracking chance. I think he's more ability now than Tritonic has, even though Tritonic was a 99 rated horse on the flat. Dean Ryan, what do you like in the Triumph Hurdle?
Yeah, all the word about Zana here being as good as it looks, I think it can be thoroughly believed. I'm amazed it's not favourite, although I was very taken by Tritonic the last day, and Alan King has sent worse horses to this race and won it. I think he's very excited about it. So it's a match. Whichever's bigger on the day is the one I'll back. Tritonic was the bet before the Adonis, but like this water under the bridge now. I mean, he looks. If the ground comes up quick, which is unlikely, they're going to keep it good to soft, maybe on the softer side. Zana here should probably beat him, but I wouldn't rule out Tritonic. I don't think it's going to be easy for either of them, but one of them will win. Good race.
Yeah, Zana here. Mikey, you're writing an awful lot of notes there now. I'm very impressed. I just spotted you there on the camera now, and you're scribbling down stuff, and you're analysing things, and you're analysing what people say. Can we have a look at the notes? No. Yeah.
I'm taking your tips for Thursday there.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end of the day, you know more than us, really, when it comes to farm, you know.
So, now, Mikey, that probably mightn't be the best thing to say in a Cheltenham preview night when you're on as an expert.
I give the audience what I want to hear, you know. So
rugged handsomeness.
No, I wish.
What'll win the Triumph Hurdle?
I've had lonely nights outside Coppers too, Jenny. Don't worry.
Of course, I had a desperate record in Coppers.
Anyway, I give Willie's Hot on Colairs in each way squeak.
Yeah. Lord. Hot. Give us that name again.
Hot on Colairs. He's an each way squeak, hopefully.
Can you elaborate there? Or?
Yeah, he's came from France. Joe Donnelly horse. Rode him a couple of times. He's nice. Yeah.
Has he ran for Willie yet?
Pardon?
Has he ran for Willie yet?
Not in Ireland, no.
Right. And will he run here?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he will, I'd say.
You can take no runner, no bet, to be fair. So be grand.
Yeah. So come here, 33-1, Mike.
Who's non-runner, no bet?
I think they're all non-runner, no bet now.
Go away.
Yeah. Is he? So this horse is obviously, you're getting a good feel of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Good enough. One word answers from Mikey Fogarty. It must be something special. There you go. That's our triumph.
I'm saying it's an open race, but I wouldn't be afraid to ride him in it now.
Yeah, that could be. That's what he said. You're part of the team. You could be riding this fella.
Well, he just asked, is it non-runner, no bet? So he might be after incriminating himself.
He's David, you rode him too.
No, I did. Oh, Mullins, sorry, yeah.
He is a nice horse. I didn't know if he was going to run or not. He hasn't ran for Willie, so.
Okay, just to give viewers the name of that horse again, it is Hot. I'm going to try and do my best French accent here. It's Hot en Colère. Is that right, Mikey?
That's shocking.
What would you go with?
I did German in school.
No, I did Latin. Would you believe I did Latin in school? Would you believe that?
Right.
Anyway,
that came in good use, I did it.
With you, Jennings, I'd believe anything.
I know. Well, I did. I did Latin in St. Pat's and Nav, and I did Latin.
In fairness, Jennings, you did say to me when I done that mad interview when I took my break, you said to me, I wouldn't be surprised if I see you back on a horse in a year. That he said to me. And you said, can I put that in? And I said, no, leave it out. I'm going on a proper break. In fairness, so
you're too good, Mikey. You're too good to be retired.
You're not a bad judge of character, Jennings, in fairness to you.
I don't know about that. Anyway, that's our I suppose, bizarre look at the Triumph Hurdle. Moving on to the Albert Bartlett and another Willie Mullins favourite here in the shape of Statler, who's 11-2. Fakira, who's been very well supported, is 15-2. Toriograph, 8-1. Barbados Bucks, 9-1. Al Philippe is 10-1. Farouk Delen, 16-1. Adramel is 16-1. 3 under True 5, 16-1. And it's 20-1 bar. Dean Ryan, Statler is one of these favourites, right? That everybody's kind of going, he's favoured, he's trained by Willie Mullins, he's got a chance, and you're kind of looking for something to take him on. Might this be a Willie Mullins favourite that actually we should back?
No, don't think so. I'd be in that camp. Just, it looks short enough. I can't get inspired by it. I feel similar about Fakira and even Barbados Bucks and Toriograph and Alafipe. All those ones you named at the top end don't inspire me. It's not a race I'm going to be getting too heavily involved in. The one that I do like that has a profile with upside, I think, is Tom Lacey's Adramel. I thought the plan has been coming nicely together with that. It's been super progressive. They went for a bit of headgear, didn't they, the last time, and it seemed to sharpen up the jumping. Dickie Johnson will ride, 16-1. I think that's an each way play in the Albert Bartlett, and that's where I'll be going. Nothing at the top end inspires me. I'm sure they're all good horses, but Adramel looks the one with upside for me.
Lovely stuff, and it's upside in the price as well. It's 16-1. Diarmuid Nolan, what do you like in the Albert Bartlett? Which, for years, I did Cheltenham preview nights, and we were all saying, you don't want the sexy horses here. You want the horses that have ran loads, that have loads of experience, that are tough. And then you kind of go, well, hold on a second. Monkfish beat latest exhibition, Fury Road and Time Hill, 4 classy horses. Manila Indo won it, classy horse. So maybe things have turned here. Maybe you do want the classy horse now, do you, Diarmuid?
I think you always want a classy horse, regardless of kind of, of what it is. I remember one time Dom Poley, people were ruling him out because he hadn't ran within a certain amount of days and stuff. There's always those kind of trends that are there to be beaten. But there's one very strong trend. Like, I wouldn't be the biggest trend man in the world unless they're useful. And there's 12 of the 15 winners of the Albert Bartlett ran over 2 mile 7 or further before taking part in the Albert Bartlett. Monkfish last year ran over 2 mile 7 at Clonmel, or was it Turles, whichever one of them it was. And like, Statler to me I'm not convinced he's an out and out stayer. I know Danny Mullins gave him a fantastic ride last time, but I'm not sure he wants this test. Fakira, to me, I'd fancy you more in the Midlands National than I would in the Albert Bartlett. I think he's actually even too slow for this. Barbados Bucks, I don't think that he's achieved anything really. And Paul Nichols has a terrible record with novice hurdlers at the Cheltenham Festival. I'm landing on Pat's Fancy at 50 to 1. There's I got dogs views for this horse. You like
this horse, Dave. Do you know what I've done? I've listened to the Racehour before, and I've heard you tip up Pat's Fancy before.
I have got dogs views for this horse because he ended up he was meant to run about 6 or 7 weeks in a row, and he just kept not turning up. So I ended up tipping him every week, and then he just was a non-runner. So it really looked like I was absolutely cracked about it. But you have to forgive the last. Him. Yeah, you have to forgive the last run because literally about 4/5 of the field pulled up behind the cob. That was a terrific ground that day at Doncaster. But in a bumper in October, he was a length behind Alphilippe in October this season, and he gave him £3 that day. He then went on next time, didn't run great in the bumper, but the run after that, then his first run over hurdles, he beat Gladiator Allen at Foslas, and then he went on to Cheltenham, and he finishes 7 lengths behind Make Good in a 3 mile race there. But the last hurdle was taken out that day. So when he jumps the last, he's alongside Make Good. But Make Good has ran, 35 times in the flat before that day. He just did him for toe up the running. But he still holds off Ask a Honeybee. He handles the track brilliantly. That was a really serious effort. And he's coming into this 50 to 1. And there's nothing between him and Alpha Leaf based on a bumper now. Of course, that could be just nothing. But just with how bad I think this race is, I think 50 to 1 about Pat's Fancy to me just seems huge, absolutely huge. It's an unfashionable yard with Rebecca Curtis, but there's glimmers of form there that just make you think that 50 to 1.
Hold on a second now. Unfashionable and Rebecca Curtis don't go in the same sentence.
I don't mean it like that, unfortunately. We all know how fashionable she is, obviously. But at 50 to 1, I just think Pat's Fancy is a big price.
Well, you know what, Diarmuid, win, lose or draw, it doesn't matter because 50 to 1 shots, it takes guts to put up the 50 to 1 shot. And fair play to you. 50 to 1, Pat's Fancy. What do you make of Pat's Fancy, Mikey? What do you make of his last couple of runs?
Hey, Diarmuid Nolan has done it again. Huh? That's some. I tell you one thing, I know why they're implying you. You aren't going around with your head in the bucket of sand. Yeah, I like Pat's Fancy after hearing that. Yeah. And
I'd say now, up until about 2 minutes ago, you didn't know if Pat's Fancy was a camel, a cat, a dog, or a horse, did you?
I thought Pat's Fancy was actually who Pat fancied. A lad, a friend of mine in Camden Street. But I like the sound of that now. It's a farce of a race, like really. I've rode it a couple of times. Sure, you need age, experience, and stamina, and Pat and Rebecca Curtis is a nice trainer. So as you said, Jennings, she's very fashionable. Yes. Put off the leather jeans and that look well in Cheltenham, I suppose. We'll give her the nod for that.
Pat's so you're a Pat's Fancy fan.
Yeah, Pat's Fancy. I like that one. I don't like Statler. Look at. I know you're giving your. I have to do something for the show. Yeah, not for me. No chance.
Okay, Statler, no chance.
I don't think he's enough experience. Hasn't ran over a solid trip. If the ground gets a bit soft, it's a grueling race. It throws up funny results. Briar Hill to Death Duty to all those. They get stuffed in it. Classy horses. And I wouldn't like. I'd agree with Diarmuid there. Something like that, or Fakira maybe of the Irish. I think he had the best shout of the Irish. Ran well there in a Grade 1, and he's about 12 runs. Gordon Elliott fit as a butcher's knife, and that's what you need. But races behind the bridle, so that'd be for me. Fakira and Pat's Fancy.
Yeah, I think Fakira's got a cracking chance. And one I'm going to throw into the mix, because I think he scoped dirty last time, is Ashdale Bob. for Jessica Harrington. Paddy Kennedy rode him last time. I think his form from his win at Navan is really strong form. Both the maiden hurdle and then the grade 2. I thought he had a big chance at Leopardstown. He scoped bad. So Ashdale Bob for me at 25-1. David Mullins, do you like Sattler?
I love the horse. He's a great leopard. I think he'd stay all day. But in a grade 1, I couldn't have him. I think he's more of an Irish national or an English national type of horse. He's not going to be quick enough from A to B, and he's going to be put on his head. And if you put Mo Farah in a race with Usain Bolt, you can only run as hard as you can for so long. So that's the reason I can't have him in that race.
What can you have?
Not much. Farouk Delin, having gone from winning that race in Limerick, because it often throws up a good horse.
Yeah.
He went off even money in that race in Navan, the grade 2, I think it was, or maybe it was a grade 3. Jack Kennedy rode him. He was the first pick of Gordon's over a good bunch of novices Gordon had in that race. So they think a lot of him. He stays. He's won the race that often throws up the winner of the Albert Bartlett. It's Farouk Delin for me.
Fahim won that race, didn't he?
He did.
Donn McClean.
Tower won it.
What?
Martello Tower went on to win the Albert Bartlett.
So did Penn Hill.
Yeah.
Good work. That's good homework, lads. Donn McClean, what'll win the Albert Bartlett?
I think it's an interesting race, David. When Fakira stayed on the last day in the Natalia Lacey race, I thought, yeah, that's an Albert Bartlett run, but he's just shorted. I think he's around about his right price. I think Sattler could win it, but I think he's shorter than he should be, really. I thought Fakira was probably the one, even though Sattler finished in front of him. I think the step up in trip will suit Fakira more, and it's not just stepping up to 3 miles. We know this race; it's a real grueling race. You have to really stay to get it. I think Torregraph, he doesn't have the class maybe that those two have, but he's a real dig deep, gutsy, stay all day. And even when he won at Thurles, Jack Kennedy said afterwards that he doesn't do an awful lot at home. You wouldn't even see him standing out at home, but just when he gets onto the track and gets into a rhythm and goes over racing pace, over staying distances, then you'd want him on your side. And the race that he won, the WT O'Grady race, Monkfish won that race last year, so it can be a point or two. So I think Torregraph, he was a big price after he won that race. He's a shorter price now, probably because it looks like he's going for it now. But I think he's interesting. And the other horse I think might run well at a price is Atlantic Fairy if she goes here in the Ballymore as well. And
that was a hell of a performance at Navan.
It was a hell of a performance, and her time was ridiculous. Like, she actually clocked. There were 3 races run over 2 miles 5 on the day, and she was faster between her flights at nearly every flight than the handicap was later in the day. And I think she was 10 seconds faster than Beacon Edge was in winning the Boyne Hurdle. Now, look, they didn't go any pace in the Boyne Hurdle, and that didn't suit Fury Road.
But I was like you. I thought she was going way too quick, and I said, has to come back, and just kept going.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I put the 3 races on the the clock this time from the first flight, and I think she was faster, just a bit in their hand time, so it's not absolutely accurate, but
that's all right. You're good, Don. You're experienced. You're good at it.
It's So to go faster between every single flight of hurdles than the race later in the day. I mean, it was some performance, and then overall faster. I think she was faster by 10 seconds on Racing Post clock, but from the first flight on my hand time, she was faster by 8 seconds than Beacon Edge in a grade 2 for a novice. It was a big performance, and look, she's inexperienced and she hasn't gone over 3, but she did run well in the point to point, so that there's every chance that she'll stay. And if she runs in the Albert Bartlett instead of in the Ballymore, then Henry de Bromhead, obviously that'll be an indicator that he thinks she'll stay. So yeah, I just think she's interested in getting the mayor's allowance as well.
Certainly is. Dean Ryan, you have the final say on the Albert Bartlett.
Adramel, you already came to me, DJ.
Did I? It's getting late. In my head there, I was going,
You're right.
Who have I left? I go to Dean. Did I leave any of you out?
No, you're all good.
All good.
So, Moving on to the big one. It is the well-child-sponsored Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's a big one, and it's a belter. And at the moment, the defending champion, bidding to emulate Arkle and best mate, is Album Photo at 11-4. It is 5-1 best price champ, best price 6-1 A Plus Tard, 14-1 Santini, 14-1 Manila Indo, 14-1 Kemboy, 14-1 Froden, 14-1 Royal Pagay, 16-1 Native River, and 33-1 Bar. Right, David Mullins, the Gold Cup Album Photo doesn't get the credit he deserves. Will he be a 3-time winner of the Gold Cup? Will he be regarded as Arkle and best mate and all these brilliant horses? And does he deserve to be talked about in the same sentences as those?
He should be. I don't know why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's because he's not flashy or something. I don't know. I don't know. He's a funny horse. I remember riding him as a novice. He was absolutely rotten to jump. I got a fall off him in Limerick. Stephen's Day going to win a Grade 2, and then Paul rode him in the Gold Cup. He ran out the last, and then he rode him in the Gold Cup the next year, and he just got better and better. And it looks like he's still improving nearly. And maybe that's the way Willie's nurtured him, only giving him the one run before the Gold Cup the last 2 years. I think that's really standing to him, and you have to nurture talent. I think that's something that Jim Bulger said, and maybe Willie Mullins has taken that into account with the likes of Quevega, and they can keep producing it year in, year out. You can be sure he'll be in top form coming there. He'll be fit as a flea. But the one I'm worried about for him is A Plus Tard. When I look back at the Savage Chase in Leopardstown, I was kicking myself, and I was giving out about Paddy taking me on halfway down the back on Mellon. I'm starting to come around to the other way, thinking that maybe we did get away from him. Maybe his class, maybe A Plus Tard is a little bit better.
So do you think then, like with A Plus Tard, obviously it was his first try over 3 miles. Do you think, did it feel like it was a proper race? Like, as in, did it feel like a proper stay in chase? Like, you were surprised that you were past, I'd say, were you?
Well, that was the way we went out to ride. We went out to ride Kemboy flat to the board, not flat to the boards, but go good gallop. It's one thing Ruby's always said to me about 3 mile chasers, and this lad he's won his Grade 1s over 3 mile and around Leopardstown. So you go out and you keep sending, you keep hooking, you keep going those big jumps, and if they're good enough, they're going to stay going. I thought I did stay going the last 50 yards. I wandered a small bit, but it was a proper race, and I thought A Plus Tard, I thought he'd done well to peg me back.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're leaning towards A Plus Tard, are you?
I'm worried. It's what he could do. Obviously Album Photo for me, but what A Plus Tard could do and improve with the trip, I'm a little bit worried about him. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting thoughts there on A Plus Tard from David Mullins. Mikey Fogarty, champ. What do you make a champ?
Doesn't jump well enough, not straightforward enough for me. I'm not sure the 2 mile thing. Sure, wouldn't be ideal, but that wouldn't be my worry. It'd be the mind you need to win a Gold Cup. I don't think he has it, So if they sort of fell in a hole in the RSA, and he's a massive engine, but massive engines, you need a mind, you need good jumpers, you need a lot of things. I couldn't see him win it. No, not for me. Couldn't have him.
Okay, what could you have?
I agree. David Mullins took the words out of my mouth. I agree completely with everything he said.
Like Meatloaf.
Basically, I just feel your man is the danger. Yeah, he's unexposed. He'll come on experience-wise, toughness-wise from Leopardstown. Monaghan was an unlucky loser. Like, I used to think a little bit like David. Maybe Henry's horses were over better strike rate over a shorter distance, but he proved with a couple. Like, you know what I mean. He's still, he's just. I think the trainer has improved as well, and he's got a better type of horse, and he is the one I would be worried about if I was Paul Townend. Album Photo, the reason I feel he doesn't get the same credit is because it's very hard to compete with a Cato or a Denman or those massive, big, famous horses that had massive followings. Like, they won Tingle Creeks, Hennessy's, any of the Gold Cups Album Photo won, it was never over the top of the hill like those great horses were, I found, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away from Album Photo. I think he's a top quality performer, and he's every bit, if not better, this year in the yard anyway. But I would be the same as David. I'd be just a little bit worried about your man. I think he's a bit unexposed. But would I ride him? No, I wouldn't get off Album. No chance. He's just, you can bounce out anywhere on him, and he's straightforward, and he'll get you out of a hole, and he'll give you 169 or that, whatever he has, or 168, whatever he's got.
Okay, so interesting there. Obviously, Album Photo is the defending champion, and he has been there, he's done it, but the two lads think that A Plus Tard could be the young pretender and could end his bid to win 3 Gold Cups in a row. Dean Ryan, you know, with a Gold Cup like this, where you've got Album Photo, you've got Champ and A Plus Tard, there are good horses in this race at really big prices. Are you looking towards that end of the market, or do you think the front end of the market is where we should be looking?
I was really trying to, DJ. I really was, because the prices just seem short enough now at the top end, whichever one you like of those big three. So
did you try hard enough?
No, I don't think there's a huge amount of value in any of the top three now, though. Album Photo is just mechanical now, isn't he? He jumps low, but he jumps super. All those kind of errors that were there earlier, and I think David mentioned, you know, he might give you a fright in his early days. He doesn't have that anymore. Willie Mullins done a great job, and if he wins 3, well, hats off. That would just be magic. I agree. That's why he doesn't get the plaudits, is because you just don't see him often enough. He doesn't have to go to the well to do what he's done, which has been terrific. I wasn't actually blown away by A Plus Tard's Savills Chase win, but everybody else I speak to, including the lads on this panel now, tell me what a great race it was. But it just hasn't gone with me. I'm going to side with Champ. I'm super excited by Champ back over a trip. I'm glad they got a run into him, albeit at 2 miles, and so Royale put him away for speed at the end. But I thought he jumped super. You know, the Paddy Aspel's on our podcast quite a bit, and he talks about the landing gear with Champ. Just doesn't come down as quick as the horse sometimes. So maybe there's a stumble in him. We've all seen his jumping issues before, but the engine is amazing, and I think Champ could win this Gold Cup. I think this will be his year. And but 9-2, DJ, the price has, you know, shrunk beyond recognition. If he was to drift to 6-7 to 1, I'd make him a cracking bet.
Bad news for you, Dean. I fancy Champ as well.
Yeah,
I do fancy Champ.
I know you're a fan, all right. Yeah, why not? I mean, he's a cracking horse.
Yeah, I just like that run. Like that run at Newbury. I thought it was a really good run. Donn McClean, what do you like in the Well-Child sponsored Gold Cup?
Yeah, look, I'm definitely afraid of Champ. I wasn't afraid of Champ at all before the Game Spirit, but I just thought over 2 miles, his jumping in the Game Spirit over 2 miles was so much better than it was in the RSA Chase last year. Like, I think, look, his finish in the RSA Chase, it was a bit gutting, and I know you were on the right side of it. I was on the wrong side of it.
You were on Manila Indo.
Manila Indo, yeah. Which, you know, run the race again. Manila Indo might win it. But look, in fairness to Champ, it was some finish, some ride by Barry Geraghty as well to get him up. But the fact we hadn't seen him all year, you're kind of thinking, is he, you know, where is he, or where does Nicky Henderson have him? And just to come out and it was a really, I thought, you know, in hindsight now looking back, of course it was a master stroke to run him in a Game Spirit. I thought, instead of running him in a 3 mile race, just to get his eye in and get him going forward and maybe sharpen him up, with a view to going back for the Gold Cup. And he stayed the RSA Chase trip last year. There's every chance he'll stay the Gold Cup trip. So look, he's a big player, but you have to love Album Photo. I agree with Dean. The reason he doesn't get or he doesn't have the fan base, or he isn't a fashionable horse, or as fashionable as he should be, is because we just don't see him. But that's, you know, would he have won 2 Gold Cups if he'd run in a Hennessy or in a whatever, King George, or, you know, probably not. We just don't know. And it worked the first year by default. He missed the Irish Gold Cup because of the ground. So he ended up going straight from Tramore to Cheltenham, and it worked then. So Willie Mullins did the same thing last year, and he's doing the same thing this year. And he's the one they all have to beat. He sets the standard. But now I'm a big A Plus Tard fan as well. He's like, he won the Close Brothers Chase over 2.5. He ran at the Ryanair Chase last year, and I don't know if it wasn't himself, but he kind of shaped like a horse who would do better over further, even though he beaten Jacqueline Brassard over 2 miles early in the season. So and then he got beaten in the Portrait Chase at the start of this season. Again, over 2, he always gets beaten in his first run. But we didn't know how he would have. He ran over 3 miles once before. That was when Delta Work beat him in the Grow-Wise Chase at Punchestown, but that was going right-handed. He's better going left, and it was also at the end of the season, so you can allow him that. And the way, as David was saying earlier, the way that he hit the line at Leopardstown, like going to the final fence, you kind of thought he had to wing it to give himself a chance of catching Cowboy, and he didn't. He got in tight, and then got going again. But just the strength with which he went to the line under Darragh O'Keefe, and it's an extra 2.5 furlongs at Cheltenham, and it's a stiffer track, but there's every chance that he'll get it all right, even though he was a 2 or 2.5 miles. So, and he's a 7-year-old, a progressive chaser like Sergeant John, like Albin Photo a couple of years ago, Cotto Star, Best Mate. They were all 7 when they won the Gold Cup. So he's the right age, and he's the coming horse, isn't he? Like, he's the one who's improving into the race. So yeah, look, he's the one that I'd want. I wouldn't rule out Manella Indo either, the other Henry de Bromhead horse. I just thought, take his RSA Chase run the last day. He fell in the Savills Chase when the plan was to go directly from there to Cheltenham. Because he fell, they ran him in the Irish Gold Cup. And I just think maybe the objective in the Irish Gold Cup was to just give him a confidence booster and bring him forward for the Gold Cup. And we know how well he goes at Cheltenham. He won an Albert Bartlett hurdle there as well at 50-1 when he ran the choke out for 2 miles and 6 furlongs. So yeah, I just wouldn't rule him out either. I think he's a good ride and a great ride for Jack Kennedy to pick up now.
Okay, so Henry de Bromhead will be happy if he listens to this anyway, Job, because you think A Plus Tard and Manila Indo
sorry, Henry.
Are the 2 plays in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And it's down to you, Diarmuid Nolan. You've got the final say in the Gold Cup.
A Plus Tard and I put up an Indo earlier on the season, and he's just really disappointed me this year. I loved this horse last year. I napped him on the preview night last year. He disappointed me. I'm on him anti-post. I couldn't cash it out, so I have the bet, but I wouldn't have much belief in him. I like A Plus Tard, but myself and Don, I think it was, who put Albin Photo up the first year of this preview, and then last year I took him on, and this year I don't see anything to take him on. I don't like the fact that Champ has to go back up and trip again. I like A Plus Tard.
Why?
His jumping seemed to improve dramatically for dropping back and trip, dramatically.
But they're going to go lickety split in the Gold Cup,
they're not going to go as quick as they did over 2 miles. I don't know.
I know. Ask the lads, right? Mikey, have you ridden in the Gold Cup?
No.
Right, David, you've ridden in the Gold Cup, right?
Yeah, and as I said there earlier, if you have a 3 mile Grade 1 horse, you go as hard as you can. You keep winging. Ruby told me that I made the run on Champagne West in the Gold Cup, and I said to him at the top of the hill, Native River was in front, and Dickie just kept going the whole way. And I said, there's no way he'll stay going. He's going to come back. He says, this is the Gold Cup. This is what Gold Cup horses do. And I followed Coney Gree around Punchestown, the next 3 mile Grade 1 in Punchestown. And I mean, I have never gone as hard in my life.
Deadly.
I'm telling you that there's over the years, that first circuit in the Gold Cup. Oh, that first circuit, I remember, even 1 year I was given Bell's Hill a chance in the Gold Cup. He'd won the Irish Gold Cup, and yes, he kind of ran on fast ground at Leopardstown, and maybe that. But Bell's Hill was beaten after 6 fences because they were going so fast. Now he was jumping terrible, but I don't know, Diarmuid. I think that first circuit in the Gold Cup, you need pace to hold your position. I think anyway.
If they bowled them on like they did that day from the front, I'd love them for it. But I don't think they are. Really, are they? They're going to let whoever make the running. I don't like him anyway for it. I'm just not convinced at all. But look, Albin Photo for me. I've gone through this race over and over again, and I cannot find any other angle than A Plus Tard Albin Photo sets a standard of 168 or 169, as Mikey says, and he'll run to that every time. And I don't think the rest of them, we can't be sure that they're going to reach that level, and we know that Albin Photo will. So I think Albin Photo takes the absolute world stuff.
I think this year it's a bit different. I know, we knocked this horse, but he's whether he wins or loses, what a horse! What a horse Albin Photo to do, and his career is full of fascinating stuff, the race at Punchestown, and even unfortunately he gave Ruby the fall, and then he wins 2 Gold Cups, and Paul is riding him even though he rode him when he ran out at Punchestown. It's just a brilliant story. But this year, 2 years ago, He beat Annabelle Fly in the Gold Cup. Last year, the first 4 home were Santini, Monolly, and what was third? Lost in Translation. I don't know. I just think A Plus Tard and Champ are different. They're different. They're the up-and-coming horse. The pace. They look like the stay. I think Album Photo this year faces a completely different test. He's not just facing them sloggers. He's facing pace, promise, and stamina. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat the two of them. Now, I'm not saying Champ is a certainty. I think just about favourite Champ over A Plus Tard. I think one of them will beat him. I really do. Anyway, so to sum up in 1, 2, or 3 words, because A Plus Tard is 3 words, we're going to run through the panel and who you think will win the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Mikey Fogarty.
Album Photo.
Diarmuid Nolan.
Album Photo.
David Mullins.
Album Photo.
Dean Ryan.
Champ.
And Donn McClean.
A Plus Tard.
And Champ for me. So, folks, that is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And what we're going to do now is we're nearly there. We're nearly there. I know you're getting tired. I know. But stick with us. We're nearly there, okay? So we're going to just have a quick look at the 3 Mares races at the Cheltenham Festival. And you've got the Mares Novice Hurdle, the Mares Hurdle, and the Mares Chase. So at the moment, Concertista is a short price favourite for the Mares Hurdle. Hookup is currently your favourite for the Mares Novice Hurdle. And Ellie May is favourite over Colreevy for the Mares Chase. So what do all those have in common? Willie Mullins. What do we have? 2 jockeys who ride out in Willie Mullins's. So, lads, the Mares races, Willie has them wrapped up. What do you think, David?
Concertista. Yeah, I think she's a good thing. She's probably the certainty of the week, if you ask me. Hookup, no, couldn't have her. Don't think Willie has the same horses, standard of mares, novices this year as he's had in previous years. They're not Let's Dances, they're not Concertistas, in my opinion. And the Mares Chase, did Willie say he was definitely going to run Colreevy?
He doesn't know. A couple of times I was talking to him, he was hemming and hawing. What do you think?
I think Ellie May.
Yeah.
That's
fair enough. Mikey, the Mares races. You're a fan of the Mares. What do you think?
Yeah. I would... Roxana, where does she go?
It looks like at the moment she's going to go for the Mares Hurdle against Concertista. She's good, isn't she?
Yeah. She could beat Concertista. Her form this year is very good. And while Concertista is favourite and deserves to be favourite, the price has gone for Concertista. The Shrewdies got their money at Christmas. Think, you know what I mean? She was about 16 to 1 there, even with the good filly of Henry's in it, but she goes for the champion. And Concertista's going very well. I like her, but Roxana would be my danger. Hookup dropped in that novice behind Appreciated. That, like, I don't know about that I rode in that race. I just didn't feel it was a truly run race. Would be a bit, while she ran very well and it's not a great race, Royal Kahala, Peter Fay, good filly, but maybe Glens of Antrim there at a bit of each way squeak, bit of value if she set.
I'd say she works very well, that mare.
Yes, and didn't jump well behind Statler. Should have been closer, and she'd be a bit of value for me at 14s. She'd be my few quid each way, and the Mares Chase. Just don't think Colreevy likes Cheltenham. Couldn't see her getting by Ellie May. Very nice mare, Colreevy, but I rode Ellie May a few days and she's just special little. She's just an absolute push button. She's a joy to ride, and I'm probably backing from probably biased from my heart there. But Ellie May for me is gonna give you a run for your money. So it'd be like Concertista, Glens of Antrim each way, and Ellie May for me.
Lovely stuff, Mikey. Nice and neat and tidy there, those selections. Well done. Diarmuid, the Mares races, what do you like?
I only like one in the Mares Novice, and Mikey mentioned her, Glens of Antrim. I think she carries in some very strong form from the boys' races. So bringing it back into Mares company is very interesting. That run behind Mr. Invincible is very strong. There's a good few very decent pieces of form there. So the only Mares race that I've had a bet in so far is Glens of Antrim, because I just think 14 to 1 is just a bit too big.
Excellent. Glens of Antrim, who I think has got loads of ability. I'd just like to see her jumping better. Yeah, certainly can see where you're coming from there, lads. 14-1. Dean Ryan, anything for us in the mares races?
Yeah, I'll skip the mares novices. No interest in punting, and that looks too tricky. LMA does look a decent thing for the mares chase. If they send Cole Reevy, that'll keep a bit of price about LMA. I just don't think Cole Reevy loves the Cheltenham track, so LMA looks a decent one. I will be taking on Concertista at the prices. I think Mikey's right; that price is completely sucked out of it. She looks very, very good, but she's been beating up Manila Melody a couple of times, and while she does it impressively, I think Roxana, who's been taking on the boys, this would be the right race to go for. 7-2, 3-1. Looks super, super solid. I think it'd be a sensible race for Roxana to go for. And there is a bit of a fly in there with Verdana Bleu. This horse was like fourth in the Sagara Stakes. I think he was second in Ascot Stakes. He won a Scottish won a Scottish champion. As long as the ground is okay, which it looks like it's going to be, that's a big price. 16-1. I'd have a little go at Verdana Bleu at a big price, I think.
Third in the Ebor, of course, last August as well.
Yeah.
Don, anything for the mares races from you?
Yeah, I think they're all interesting, David. Like the mares chase, Ellie May, her run behind Allaho was very good, and then back over 2 miles, she beat Shattered Love the last day. I think Shattered Love might get a bit closer to her though, back over 2.5. I think that's Shattered Love's trip as well as Ellie May's. They should both improve for it. And if there was a wee bit of cut in the ground, Shattered Love, that would bring her into it. We know she's got course form. She won the JLT there a few years ago, so I think she's interesting in the chase. Concertista, yeah, I think she's just an improved filly this year, isn't she? She's so good. 2.5 miles a trip. She was brilliant in the mares novices hurdle last year, and she was only beaten the short head in it by Eglinton the style the year before. So she just, I think that they changed something small about her training routine, Willie said earlier in the year, and that just brought her forward this season. So she looks like a different mare, and yeah, I wouldn't be taking her on anyway. I know she's a short price, but I wouldn't be taking her on. The mares novices hurdle is very interesting. You've got Rosie's Hollow was so good in winning the grade 3 race there.
He's a good trainer, Jonathan Sweeney, isn't he? He's a fella that could go places. He
was telling Kevin O'Ryan afterwards, he had something like, I think he said 3 runners in graded races, and all 3 have won. She was the third of them. So, he doesn't waste bullets.
Knows the time of day, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's done very well with her, and she was so good. Like she got a really good ride by Mark Wall. She kept her around the inside, and she got a nice gap on the rail around the home turn. But she showed a lot of pace, and that was 2.25 miles. That both Jonathan Sweeney and Mark Wall said afterwards that they thought she'd be better back down and trip over 2 miles. So, I'm not sure if she's going for the race though. And actually, she was getting weight from Royal Kahala that day. She was getting £4. Now she's got a £5 penalty. So there's a £9 turnaround. And that brings Royal Kahala into it. Royal Kahala that day, she just was always behind the bridle a bit. Like she normally travels so well through her races and shows that turn of foot. She didn't do it that day. And I thought she did well to finish second, given that she didn't seem to travel with her usual verve through a race. So on £9 better terms, she, there's a good chance she could reverse places at Rosie's Hall. So I think whichever one of those run, they're going to set a good standard.
Yeah, certainly the mares' races add a bit of intrigue to this year's festival. Nearly there, folks, nearly there. Handicap Hurdles at the Cheltenham Festival. Okay, I'm going to throw a few in here. I like Monte Cristo in the Coral Cup off a mark of 145. Impressive winner at Kempton on St. Stephen's Day. I think this is a good horse, and I think he could still be well handicapped of 145. That goes in the Coral Cup. David, do you like that in the Handicap Hurdles?
Come back to me. There's a horse. The name is after getting away from me.
That's all right. We have plenty of time. Mikey, Handicap Hurdles.
I'm not really too sure on what's running in them, to be honest.
You know what, Mikey? All joking aside, I admire your honesty because at the start of that, I thought you were going to say, I'm not really sure what race a certain horse is running in,
David,
but instead you just went straight down the line and said,
I don't know one horse in the race.
All right, Mikey, that's all right. Honesty is the best policy. We don't want waffle.
Here, I ride out in Willie Mullins's every day in early bar one day or that, so I don't really follow an awful lot. I know Gordon's in Irish, but when it comes, I like any of our viewers, listen to the form men when it comes to handicaps, because you've a great record at it. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers for that, Mike. Donn McClean, Handicap Hurdles. Do you like anything?
I did like the Boss's Oscar until they gave him £8 more in Britain than he had over here, which was a shame. I still think he can run well, but a mark of 151, it's a big
Jordan Gainford could claim off him, could he?
Yeah, he could. He claimed 7 then. That would be it would be a help.
I was talking to a fella, a very, very shrewd judge tonight, and he told me that Jordan Gainford is the best young rider he's seen since Jack Kennedy. Is that right, lads? Is he that good?
He looks very good to me, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Thought that was big praise now. So you're a Boss's Oscar fan, potentially, Don?
Yeah, Druid's Altar, I think, as well is interesting in the Fred Winter if he goes there. Like he won the race that Aramax won last year. I think you tipped up Aramax last year, didn't you, David?
It napped him on this show.
Good man. Yeah, that was a good pick.
Thanks,
14, 16 to 1?
Yeah, 7 to 1 actually. He actually drifted way out and then he came back in. But on the night that we did the preview, it was 7 to 1.
But so Druid's Altar won that race, and like he was competing with Zana here earlier in the season. He was a good juvenile. He kind of seemed to go off the boil, but that was a really good run. And Zafanian, who finished second, Dennis Hogan's horse, he came out and enhanced the form. He won there the other day. And Druid's Altar, it looked like going over the last and on the run in, it looked like Zafanian was going to get him. And Zafanian he doesn't have a very attractive head carriage. He kind of carries his head a wee bit high. And it looked like he wasn't going on. But actually, if you watch the race again, Druid's Altar picked up again and he stayed on very well. And Zafanian then was impressive in winning the other day. So that enhanced that form. Zafanian's a shorter price than Druid's Altar for the Fred Winter, which is strange. Druid's Altar actually meets him in £1 better terms. He's 133 here, he's 135 in Britain, which is more than fair. So I think, trained by Joseph O'Brien as well, who is good at targeting these handicaps. And that race, as well as Aramax winning it, I think Cocoa Beach finished third in it and he finished second. And then Band of Outlaws, correct. And wasn't Gordon Elliott's horse, didn't he finish down third or fourth behind Outlaws? He finished third in the Fred Winter. So it's a race, and like you can't, same race is not going to provide the winner every year, but it's not a bad pointer. And the fact that Druid's Altar won it, but it's more that I just think he could be, like, he's got a lot of latent talent there, and I think £2 higher in Britain, a mark of 135, that's more than workable, I think.
Lovely stuff. Druid's Altar for Donn McClean in the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. Did you think of that name yet, David?
Yes, Champagne Gold in the county.
Oh yes, Rachel rides that. I think she's quite sweet on it.
Yeah, I seen it today in Clonmel. I thought it looked a bit big in the Parade Ring, and it bolted up the next day in Wexford. One run I think was a bit disappointing after, and then a very good second, the first handicap run in Leopardstown. I think there was 25 runners or something in it, so he can only improve. Novice, love him.
Lovely. Champagne Gold in the county hurdle for David Mullins. Diarmuid Nolan, anything in the handicaps?
Yeah, I really like Champagne Gold as well. I really like Gabby Necco in the Martin Pipe of 141. Conor McNamara should ride, according to Gavin Cromwell the last day. And if you like Bob Ollinger, this horse was third behind him in the Grade 1 there. He gets in off 141. I mean, you need to be graded to win a handicap at Cheltenham. So I think he most certainly is that off 141. I would love if Allard ran in the Coral Cup. I know it's 149, but that horse was fifth in the Supreme last season. He wants further, so 149 for him is huge. I like the Boss's Oscar as well. Riviere de Tel of 134 in the Boodles. I know she's a bit of an awkward ride, but I think going quicker will definitely help her. And then one that could go off at any price is Mill Green. He's 140, rated 140. He ran in the Martin Pipe last year, and anyone just watch that race back, because everyone talks about the Boss's Oscar, but this lad actually came back from further. He didn't jump a single hurdle right on the day, but he stayed on all the way up the hill to finish a brilliant sixth. Like how he finished sixth is just extraordinary. So if he can get his jumping together at all, he could go off 33 to 140 to 1 or bigger. And Mill Green in maybe the Martin Pipe or the Coral Cup or something like that, he could just go very well. And these owners have had William Henry and Whisper win handicaps at Cheltenham. They're kind of shrewd enough at holding back a horse. And I think Mill Green's had a steady campaign towards this. And I think he could be any price there.
Lovely, good work. Dean, Handicap Hurdles.
Yeah, I'd give another nod to the boss's Oscar. I do think it got.
Lads, what are you at?
I know it's going against your nap, DJ, but maybe the weight will stop it. You know, it did get plenty of weight. They probably do need to claim off it, but I do think he'd be competitive. I like a couple
he certainly will.
He will. I like a couple of Gary Moore horses. Botox has in the Coral Cup. He's only run 8 times, 3 of them at Cheltenham. One of them was second All Mankind. A couple of handicap wins there as well. I think they've been just waiting to have a crack at this race.
Tom Siegel, a big fan of his.
He's off 142. I think he's been very open about laying out for it. I actually think 50 Ball of his as well will go well in the county after running behind Soaring Glory. That saddle slip after the last just meant that maybe didn't get as close as they could have done to that horse. That horse is going for the Supreme. So that makes a lot of sense. I think it could be a good week for them with Goshen as well. They might actually, at least run a few places, I'm sure. In that Boodles, Boostleton is interesting. I think it's owned by the McCoys. I think Chanel Farmer is the owner, trained by Joey. It's running the right races. If St. Sam doesn't go, I'd give that a great shout. You never know, it might win there, and JP will pick it up for next season. They'll do something. You never know. That does seem like that might happen. That's where I'd go with the handicap hurdles.
And finally, Handicap Chases. So I'm going to throw a couple into the mix here. First, as I said, I think Daisha Abba in the Kim Muir has got a cracking chance. I think in Tukas in the Grand Annual, he's another one that I think will go very well. Diarmuid Nolan, Handicap Chasers.
Conflated is one that I'm very, very big on, just like yourself, Dave.
Agree with that.
I don't think a mark of 149 will stop him. Like when you look at the form behind, like Mr. Hendricks is behind him. He's now really 146. Denny Lacey is one from behind him. Rebel Gold is one from behind him. Second to Steering Falange. Like he just has some serious form. Missed Christmas and missed the last day, but that wouldn't concern me. Kind of reminds me a bit of the storyteller coming into this race. Just that kind of novice chaser. I love Happy Go Lucky. Absolutely mad about him for the ultimate. I know he's only had 8 runs, but a lot of them are absolutely full of battles. So I really like Happy Go Lucky, but he's been well found now in the market. And two for the Grand Annual. I think Chosen Mate will go very well again. I know he's 156, but it wouldn't surprise me to see young Jordan Gainford or another claimer on him. Jordan Gainford taking 7 off would mean that he'd only be 2 pounds higher than last year. And the way he won, although people do need to remember that this is going to be a completely different race on a different course. And I really like Embittered of 146, ran a huge race in the County Hurdle last year, off that exact same mark. 2 horses in front of him were Aramon and St. Wat. They have definitely franked that form since. So off 146, the very same mark, Embittered in the Grand Annual as well.
Dean Ryan, Handicap Chasers.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Your mate Keels is one of his naps is Lieutenant Rocco, isn't it?
Oh, he can't. I tell you, he hasn't shut up about Lieutenant Rocco for the last 2 weeks.
He's a Bismarck of mine for the festival, I think. What is he? 3 from 3 on heavy ground.
I agree with him there.
0 from 6 on anything else, and he pulled up at the festival last year. He's probably reasonably well handicapped, but I think he might want a downpour. I go against that one with I think Happy Go Lucky's got a great chance to win Derma mentioned, but one for the team I thought was interesting if he sneaks in. A few need to come out, but he's off a mark of 140. Nick Williams, of course, Kustar Savola, Maljamar, etc. It's a good race for him. I think he's running the right races behind Next Destination, Shamblu, the big breakaway. I think he's got a good chance. Tom Schooner will ride that, hopefully. And I think one for the team's a good bet. Zanza, that Tom Seagal gave the world, which is really unfortunate because he was a massive price. I think it was 33 to 1. Yeah, that's all gone. But I still think he'd go very well. Lack of experience, and he's coming off that fall. But that fall was when he would have beat Sky Pirate, I think, or at least gone very, very close. And now the turnaround in weights is unreal. Zanza could go off even shorter than he currently is. Venetia Williams is normally what you want for the plate. So I looked through hers. Espoir de Guy I thought was interesting. You think about what she's running there. She's had 1-2s in the race, like Something Wells, like Idol First, Carrick Boy. Espoir de Guy, a little bit unlucky at Cheltenham, I thought, last season, ran an Imperial Auras race, I think, and just got messed around at the start, actually come in a bit sore. Has done everything right since then. He's a big price. He guaranteed a run 25 to 1. I thought that was interesting. And I like your Deja Abu running back in the race for Dickie Johnson and Hemmings.
Deja Abba.
Abu, isn't it? Abba.
No,
okay.
Abba.
Abba, yeah.
Well, as in Waterford Abba.
Yeah. Or Waterloo.
No, Waterford. The Deja. Donn McClean, any handicap chasers you like?
Yeah, like Run Wild Fred is favourite now for the Kim Muir, but he's off mark of 140, which is £4 lower than his hurdles mark. I tell you, he ran a hell of a race in the play estates. It's going to be an odd Kim Muir this year, isn't it? With professional riders and an odd National Hunt Chase.
Yeah, it will.
Anyway,
you got to elaborate there, no?
What? No, but it's
I was
going to
looking
be
at my
weird.
notes.
What?
I was looking at my notes. I thought you were going to elaborate.
It's going to be odd, isn't it? Seeing just having no amateur riders there. It's going to be it's just one of the other.
Everything about this year's Cheltenham Festival is going to be odd. Everything. I still haven't come to terms with the fact that I won't be there.
Yeah.
So
I'm the same.
Sickening. Anyway, have you any fancies for us?
Yeah, Milan native, I think, if he goes in the Ultima. He's only £8 higher than he was when he won the Kimure last year, and he won that with any amount in hand. He only won by 2 or 3 lengths in the end, but he bolted up and back, course form going back to Cheltenham. I think he's about a 16 to 1 or 20 to 1 shot. I think he could be interesting in the Ultima, all right. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Milan native for Donn McClean in the Ultima. Mikey, should I ask anything?
I haven't really followed it, but the green and gold always do well. Does the Wave of the Sea go on the Grand Annual? Or?
Could do. Winner last time at the Dublin Racing Festival, yeah.
There's a lot of winners came out of it, but I agree with Don there. Milan native, love that crack, love chosen, mate. The horses that have been, going back to Cheltenham again, and probably with these races in mind. So look at each to their own, but Milan native, chosen mate there would be nice. But the one that's well weighted is Wave of the Sea there in the Grand Annual. I think he might have a squeak.
Lovely stuff. And finally, David Mullins, do you like anything in the Handicap Chases?
The Shunter, I think.
Where do you think he'll go?
I'd say the Grand Annual.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. No, I don't know.
Does he get the bonus if he wins that? Yeah.
It's any race, yeah.
Any race, yeah.
I thought he'd go for the Grand Annual.
You surely know.
I don't think Paul Byrne doesn't tell his left hand what his right hand is doing.
Is he tell me?
He'd tell you, I'd say, would he? He trusts you.
Yeah. In Mikey, we trust, he'd say.
He's a shrewd operator, isn't he?
Yeah, you go mad at me now for saying that now. We're talking about him. Yeah.
He's very good, though. Very shrewd. So the Shunter, you think, could go in the Grand Annual, David?
That's what I'd fancy him in anyway. And then the Kimure, the favourite, Runaway Fred, I think it's brilliant. Don was going to say Cheltenham's going to be very different this year without the amateurs, but it's Jamie College, Patrick Mullins, Barry O'Neill, maybe a few others as well. They were just a stone better than everyone else. That's where you were going to get your few pounds, But listen, I think Runwell Fred, I think he's a good thing.
Very interesting. Okay, Runwell Fred. So all that's left to do now, lads. We've got there. We've got to the end of the night, and all that's left to do now is reveal our charity bets. And this was hugely successful last year. Almost got 4 up. We got 2 up. Aramax at 7 to 1, and Min at 5 to 1. So serious thought has to go in here. Now, Mikey, I want serious thought here. Concentration, okay? Right. We're going to go to Donn McClean first. Donn McClean, for charity, your best bet of the 2021 Cheltenham Festival is?
A Plutar in the Gold Cup.
A Plutar. So a Plutar in the Gold Cup for Donn McClean. Diarmuid Nolan.
I would say Zanahir or Gare O'Neill, but they're
well, hold on here a sec. Surely you know that the charity bet is coming up at the end of the night.
I know. I have 3. I told you yesterday. I've got 3 horses that I can't.
So what are the 3?
Happy Go Lucky, Gare O'Neill, and Zanahir. Happy Go Lucky is the biggest price, so I'll go Happy Go Lucky.
Okay, Happy Go Lucky in the Ultima for Diarmuid Nolan. Dean Ryan. I think I know what you're going to go for, Dean.
Yeah, Time Hill will do. We'll put some money in the charity set. So thanks to Tony Bet for the stake. I'll have that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How much are we getting on from Tony Bet?
100 quid a pop.
100 quid a pop. At best price?
Best price.
Okay, 100 quid. So Time Hill is Dean Ryan's charity bet. David Mullins, your charity bet, please.
Can't go with the short ones, but Runwell Fred is favourite. He's 5 to 1, I think. So stick with him.
So Run Wild Fred in the Kimure for David Mullins. Mikey Fogarty. Now you look very inquisitive there, Mikey. You're putting thought into this.
Yeah, Saint Sam in the Fred Winter.
Do you think he can twist his arm? Yeah.
I sure no one does, but I think he'll run in that race.
If he doesn't go, Mikey, give another one, so we have something.
Hot on Colliers in the Triumph.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. That
And if he doesn't go, Mikey.
If he doesn't go,
I don't know. I don't know which was worse there. The pronunciation of whatever the name of the horse is. The pronunciation of the Triumph Hurdle turned into Triumph, and the selection probably wasn't great either.
if he doesn't go, then I'll give you.
Hollow games in the bumper, Mike. Go on.
No, he's not going to win it. I'll give you. I don't know. Maybe
Lens of Antrim.
Lens of Antrim might. Yeah. Either will she run?
She'll run. Yeah.
Glens of Antrim.
I thought this would be the most straightforward part tonight.
Glens of Antrim. Yeah. No, Ellie May in the chase. What price is Ellie May?
There you go. Favorite. Yeah. 2 to 1 or 2 to 1.
What price is favorite?
2s, I think.
No, not taking that.
Jeez.
I'll tell you, a horse called Jungle Boogie in the Ballymore.
Good one. Nice.
Yeah, runaway winner, punches 10 last time in the worst maiden hurdle of all time. But yeah, are you going? What are you settling on, Mikey?
Whichever 3 run. Yeah, take any.
Who wins?
Okay.
On to Don. Now you're talking. It's for charity, guys.
Okay, so first choice Saint Sam, second choice Jungle Boogie. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Job done.
Is that them all now? Have I to give mine just, is it?
Just you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is obvious. It's Imperial Alcazar in the Thames final. This horse, Mikey, will win. You know the way you think I'm good at the handicaps?
Yeah, you're very good, yeah.
Yeah, this one will win now.
I've written it down, Jennings. It's written down.
Yeah. I'm going for 4 in a row, would you believe?
4 in a row, yeah.
4 in a row,
impressive.
yeah. 4 in a row. So we've done it, boys. We've got there. It's taken a while, but it's been extremely enjoyable. My thanks to Dean Ryan and Diarmuid Nolan from the Racehour podcast, to Donn McClean, the expert that is, to, of course, Mikey Fogarty and David Mullins, who have added not just knowledge, but comedy. And we all need comedy in life at the moment. We're in a global pandemic. The headlines haven't been great in racing in the last week, but we all need more Mikey Fogartys and David Mullinses in the world. I think we'll all agree. I've been your host, David Jennings. Absolutely massive thanks to Tony Bet and bookmakers.co.uk for the sponsorship of tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you are having a bet at the Cheltenham Festival, don't forget to gamble responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Thanks for watching.